World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Want to quit your day job? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
This is bad. Wait, let's just do it ourselves.
It is not fear that grips him, only restlessness, a heightened sense of things. The smell of engine and sweat, the engine rattling his blood, the crowd roaring, the race is about to start. He breathes deeply to focus. In this league, he finally found what he was looking for. A true passion.
Sono Massimo Paganini e per anni ho cercato una macchina che mi desse gioia, adrenalina nella guida e finalmente l'ho trovata nella G1 Series. Se anche tu vuoi provare una macchina che ti dia gioia e adrenalina, G1 Series 2020.
So, you think you got what it takes to race in the G1 Series? Can you keep your concentration? Even in the most stressed situations, can you keep pushing even when things go wrong? Can you master different environments? Can you adapt immediately to different conditions? Can you keep learning? Learning from your opponents, learning from your mistakes, learning from everyone, anytime, anywhere, until you reach your goal and become the best you can. Think you got what it takes to race in the 2020 G1 Series? Then fill in the form now.
Want real followers? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real. Street racing. Doesn't need to be said too much about how difficult the challenges are. When people talk about street circuits, when they talk about street racing, this is the first place that normally springs to mind. A legendary track which over the years has morphed, has evolved, has become an icon, but yet still holds that old school feel of racing, and it is here at the Circuit d'Azur where the 5th round of the championship comes into full view out of 6 for this, your Griiip G1 Virtual Series 2020, which is presented by Fiverr. Hashtag making it work. We are here at the Principality for some brilliant racing action being brought to you on many different platforms here today on World Pro Racing. If you're watching right now on YouTube, on Facebook Live and or Twitch, you can like, share and subscribe right now for more great content brought to you by World Pro Racing. For those of you who are joining us on the ESR 24/7 Esports Network and ESPN, we welcome you into the conversation. Hello, and of course, for those who are joining us for the final 2 rounds of the championship on Motorsport TV, hello and welcome to some brilliant action that is going to be taking place over 2 races here today. The Amateur Category Championship, which is being raced for right now as drivers will be fighting for GT Omega Racing and Thrustmaster products as part of the prizes presented and supported by those here in this championship. The mod, of course, created by ASR Formula, and the pros who will be fighting for €5,000 in a prize pool with €2,500 going to the winner at the end of next week, which, of course, will be the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit to end out the season. But it is worth noting here that we are currently in a look towards practice. At this point in time, we shall be going to practice in just a little bit, but this Monaco circuit, let's talk about it. It's a very, very interesting track that we have available for us. It's 18 turns of fantastic street side action heading up towards Saint-Devote, up the hill through Beaurivage and Massenet before entering Casino Square, one of the most famous corners on this place, through Mirabeau to the Grand Hotel hairpin, which of course has had many names over the years in terms of that hairpin. What remains the same is that it is the tightest corner in Formula One racing at the moment, but it still remains one of the great corners to have a battle down the hill through Mirabeau and Portier and through the famous tunnel, which brings you back out into harsh sunlight down the hill to the Nouvelle Chicane, which becomes the prime overtaking place out on track. To back is a corner you cannot afford to get wrong, and then you head through the Louis Chiron chicane into the swimming pool, the piscine section, before heading to the Rascasse hairpin, of course named after the restaurant down on the inside. Has been a little bit easier of a run over previous years, and then Anthony Nogues, the off-camber final corner at the junction, go back onto a lap, heading up to Saint-Devote. Once again, 2 races here today, of course, we said being Pro and Am. The first race will be 20 minutes long in length, and then we'll head to a 30-minute race in the Pro Category Championship. Now, it is worth talking about, actually, where this championship stands at the moment, because in this Amateur Category Championship, it has been all about the Philip Kraus show here, ladies and gentlemen. Out of 4 race starts, there have been 4 race victories, and last time out at Zandvoort, which of course I was not here for, Philip Kraus walked away with a lights to flag victory without any real worries, 10 seconds clear of Pierre-Andre Previdi and Sam Carpenter to finish in 3rd position. But with 2 rounds to go, a 40-point margin at the top, which means that mathematically, Sam Carpenter must finish 1 place ahead, theoretically, ahead of Philip Kraus in order to keep the title challenge alive heading to the Nürburgring. But there are a few drivers who are absent today for this Amateur Category Championship event. So that's going to be something just to keep in mind as practice is currently underway at the moment And as far as things go, there are 10 minutes of practice coming up, and then there will be 10 minutes of qualifying in open season formula. So that's going to be crucial to keep in mind. If Sam Carpenter does not turn up for this qualifying and racing starts without him, then the championship is all but secured. The gap between Philip Kraus in first and the tied battle for third place at the moment between Pierre-Andre Previdi and Luka Furlich right now is a full 72 points at this moment, with 35 points for a race victory. It is safe to say that 72 into 70 equals 2 left over, and that would mean that Philip Kraus, without having to lift a finger, would be crowned champion should Sam Carpenter not turn up for this event. Got some brilliant drivers, though, up and down the order. Some drivers who didn't have a good time, though, when it came to 1 week ago at Zandvoort. Stoyan Barbakov was going to be absolutely fantastic here today. So it wasn't very good last time out, as I caught myself rambling a little bit there. But Stoyan Barbakov had a non-finish, and Alessandro Verni the same, 6th and 8th, respectively, between those drivers out on track. So that's not going to be quite ideal for those, as they look to try and make a push forward in terms of their event. So that's going to be a little bit interesting right now as they go out on track. So we are going to have a few little additions going on here before we get ourselves ready over to racing. But let's talk pro for a second as well, because the pro division has been absolutely fantastic over the course of racing, and that pro division, which will be coming up after the amateur category racing, that has seen a massive shift in the way that the championship looks. A non-finish for Erhan Yayovsky in the Roman Grosjean car, the R8G machine, means it's R8G both tied at the top on 100 points. Jerne Simčić only 15 points back, despite the fact that he missed the race at Imola round 3 of the championship. His win last time out was crucial and brings him close to the battle. And then, of course, you've got Peter Briliak there in 4th. Dennis Jordan currently in 5th. And it's Alex Siebel and Michi Hoyer rounding out the money-paying slots in 6th and 7th. Worth keeping an eye out on that 7th place scrap, because you've got Michi Hoyer, Alexander Dorneden split by just 10 points at the moment, and those positions could change really quickly with Luca D'Amelio and Jason Muscat just 2 points back of that. But that's something just to keep in mind a little bit into the future here of this event. We will get practice restarted up in just 1 moment's time, as drivers will be looking to get themselves ready and going once again. Just the final few things being sorted out before we get ourselves over towards more action here at the Principality, the Circuit d'Azur. But this Circuit d'Azur has been featured so many times in so many series. It has been the icon, the crown jewel, some would say, of Formula 1 racing, and it has been a crown jewel in any calendar. When you race around here at the Principality, you know that this place is special. Drivers are often categorized by how many wins they've got at this place. The legendary Graham Hill always comes to mind with his 6 wins around this place. You get drivers who actually make a legacy for themselves for their brilliance at this Monaco track. David Coulthard is certainly one of them who became a master of this Monaco circuit. And what we have seen here in Monte Carlo is so many brilliant works here at the Circuit d'Azur. So right now, everybody looking to try and get themselves out and going here on practice. They've got 10 minutes before they get themselves ready and looking over to getting themselves going forward. But it's going to be now about who can set their foot down, who can set the gauntlet here today in terms of pace. And unofficially, it is once again Philip Kraus, who looks absolutely fantastic at this moment in time. It's Kraus's world here in the Amateur Category Championship, and he'll be looking to try and prove exactly the same once again, but this time on the city streets. But there is always, of course, that big difference which comes to racing here on a street circuit like the Circuit d'Azur. And the big key to that Circuit d'Azur track, or this Circuit d'Azur track, I should say, is actually how much little margin for error you have through so many quick corners. There's no runoff, for example, through Massenet and the Casino Square. You get yourself down into turn number 5, which is the first of 2 Mirabeau corners. You've got a little bit of runoff there on the left-hand side, but absolutely nothing at all. This place prides itself on being still difficult to get correct, and one small error here and one small error there is enough to make life very, very difficult. Especially here at this braking zone for Philip Kraus, down the hill and trying to get it through the right and the left. They're not going to be dealing with so much with the power, with the torque that seems to be an issue with a lot more powerful vehicles that go through, as Kraus very nearly just grazing the Armco barrier there on the outside of Tabac Corner. But this is going to be a tall order for quite a few drivers. It's going to be not necessarily a long race, but a difficult, a challenging race, a track which of course you have no places here on this circuit to really switch off at any point in time. For example, this pit straight that Kraus was coming through as he set a 1:23.8 as his representative time. The big key has been all about how this track does not have anywhere to shut off. That straight, of course, is always curving around slightly to the right as you go on through. You head up yourself through Beau Rivage, which is the small kinks left and right, which is classified as turn number 2. You're always trying to thread a line through this section. Some say that you are over-glorified with a kart up through here, and these Griiip G1 cars have looked very much like karts in the way that they drive and the style that they go through, and very much this is paradise for so many people go out and race. There's so many reasons why this track here of the Circuit d'Azur is so revered, with 5 minutes 40 seconds left to go when it comes to practice at this moment before we take ourselves over towards qualification out on track. A lot of reasons why this place has so much love. There's so many iconic races that have gone on around this place. You talk about 1980s and the likes, the race that nobody wanted to win. There was the race where only 3 drivers were able to finish back in 1997. You've got so many great memories that come around this place. And of course, not just in this series, but you've got the likes of Formula E, which has licensed content on rFactor 2, which becomes so very, very vital to rFactor 2 in terms of its service, and the race that we've seen from the Formula E Race at Home series, which has been absolutely fantastic to see in various channels. But it's pretty much everyone wants to race here. Everyone wants to have a race around this place. If you have that opportunity, if you have that availability, it is so brilliant, be it for that in a Formula 1 category event, be that as it may for, say, the classic races that go on here. I believe it's a few weeks before or after, memory doesn't quite serve me correctly. But any time that you get a chance to drive the fabled streets, it is a beautiful place to go around and have a run. And it is one of the few things that pretty much defines this place, defines an entire nation, some would say, in terms of this track, the Circuit d'Azur. It is something that cannot be put into words, just how beautiful, just how pretty, how iconic this place is. But these drivers know just how scary it is. Stoyan Barbakov, currently second at the moment here in practice, almost half a second slower than Philip Kraus at the moment on a 1:24.3, heading through the last piscine section, the swimming pool. That's had many alterations over the years. It used to be a lot tighter, a lot more narrower section, a lot slower section through that, but over the years that section of track has really been opened up and really expanded to be faster, to be more flowing through that section, and has seen at the times rapidly drop around this place as Barbakov comes up the hill. There has been a change though. Kraus has gone quicker to a 1:23.6, but crucially Previdi has gone to second on a 1:24.109, so a good time from Pierre-Andre Previdi in the Clash car, going up into second position, which is a huge benefit to what Previdi wants in terms of his fight with Luka Furlic, who currently at the moment in practice is classified in 5th place overall right now. He's on a 1:25.227 out on track at the moment, which puts him behind the likes of Barbkov, behind the likes as well of Nathan Mifsud there in the number 4 machine, just 1.1 seconds off of pole position. For those who don't know who I am, I'm Jake Sperry. I've forgotten to mention everybody at this point in time. Of course, we've got Justin Mifsud there on the cameras for us here today with Adrian Fagayo, the Chief FIA accredited race steward or Chief Race Director here today. Chief Race Steward, of course, going to George Muscat, who also shares the same title of that being a steward who is officially certified FIA licensed part of the Malta Motorsports Federation. And of course, there is so much great stuff that happens with World Pro Racing, and if you haven't been able to check out some brilliant stuff that World Pro Racing has already done, you can also have a look at the community racing that has been going on and will be going on for the next 5 weeks on the World Pro Racing YouTube channel, Twitch, on Facebook Live as well. There's been some brilliant stuff going on, and there will continue to be so. So all your love and support will be absolutely marvellous at this point in time, with 90 seconds before we get ourselves practice concluding and heading over towards qualifying. There are currently 11 drivers here today looking to try and race. The driver who has yet to set a time is Alberto Sartori at the moment, who is trying to get a feel for this track, and Idan Kaufman is currently the driver who's at the back of this field with a 1:31.2. Currently the fastest lap, which is 7.5 seconds off of the fastest time at this point, which I think for 107%, if it did exist, would be right on the bubble, I would have thought, at this short circuit. So Idan Kaufman needing to find a bit of pace, fully 3 seconds, if not 4 seconds right now, behind Raffaello Morga, who is currently in 9th place. We'll expect to see a lot of good battling here today as well, with this race being very, very crucial in terms of AM category points. But it's worth noting, ladies and gentlemen, that pro race will be coming up after this amateur category event. There will be a small break between races here, but that pro race is going to be very key, as Alan Smith has absolutely clattered the inside barrier into the outside barrier up at Massenet turn number 3. That would not have been the ideal way to go through that section, especially in open wheel vehicles where the damage certainly can rack up time and time again around this place. So practice is going to conclude in about 1 second, and practice is all but concluded. So in the next few moments, drivers will be switched over to qualifying out on circuit, and it will be a mad scramble to see who is the fastest around the Principality streets, and look to try and head to the next section of success when it comes to this championship. Round 5 of 6, 2 rounds to go, and at the moment it is looking pretty much locked up with a nice neat bow for Philip Kraus, who at the end of qualifying, if there is no Sam Carpenter, will be declared as champion before even a lap would have been turned. So qualifying, drivers will now look to get themselves out of the pits and straight down to the end of pit lane. Of course, they're not allowed to cross the line at the moment. The session has not yet started. There's a red light on at the end of the pit lane. They've got to wait for the green light to flash before they get themselves going out on circuit. So the last few seconds wait, and there is the clock. 10 minutes on it, and let's get ourselves going then for qualifying. Kraus, driver number 1, 4 wins out of 4 so far. He will be the first to get out there on track. Pravidi is right behind, though, in second position, and will be happily waiting in the clash car to try and push through. They can see Stoyan Barbakov there in 3rd position on the road at this point in time as well. So it's going to be a nice little scrap that we're going to see in qualifying. It's going to be all about who can put the perfect lap all together. It's so easy to get it right. It's so easy to get it wrong, though, around this place. And a perfect lap, even at a short track like this, seems sometimes like it's just a step too far from time to time. But the HM engineering cars will be looking to try and push as hard as possible, get the right times together to make sure that everything works. And also space on this track is going to be a key interesting battle, as Sam Carpenter has turned up to the fight. So Sam Carpenter gets here late. He's missed a minute of qualifying already, And this is going to be key now. So the race, the championship, I should say, is not over at this point. Sam Carpenter is here. Sam Carpenter is racing. So Sam Carpenter must beat Philip Kraus by at least one position out on circuit here today to take the race to the Nürburgring. And of course, it's worth noting about who has the most wins, because even if Sam Carpenter finishes first, for example, and Kraus finishes second, it would be 35 points the margin, and the gap in terms of wins would be a 4-1 margin, which Sam Carpenter would not be able to claw down. So in reality, Sam Carpenter has to have a car in between himself and Philip Kraus here today to get this one sorted. The first times we'll be looking to start as Kraus actually has a big wiggle coming out of the first of two fantastic corners here as he runs through to Portier, and now looking to make that run through the tunnel. Kraus struggling on the run up, of course, to the Grand Hotel hairpin, which was always going to be a tough place to have a slide, always trying to get the power on as quick as possible into the Nouvelle chicane. Does slightly clip that anti-cut curve, which does stick out a little bit of that chicane like a sore thumb, but what it is capable of doing is slowing down those drivers who do get it slightly wrong, and it's going to be so key for these drivers in vehicles which do feel a little bit like go-karts. They're going to feel every bump going through in terms of the rigs that they have available to them, and the HM engineering car of Philip Kraus will make a way through the final corner of Anthony Nogues, will take the long Lisk right over towards the start-finish line and over the stripe for the first time. It's a 124.3, which sets the margin at the moment. There's the pole to beat, and Pierre-Andre Previdi is a whole second off on a 125. Barbakov also a 125. And they're starting to come in. Sheldon Scott Muscat fourth. Luka Furlich a 25.9. Only goes fifth. He's 1.5 seconds off. Morga seventh now. He is 3 seconds off the pace. But Nathan Mifsud goes second on a 25 flat at exactly the right time with that first flyer. So that one has worked a charm. Out on track comes Sam Carpenter then, as he will look to try and set his first few lap times out here on the circuit, and we'll look to try and make sure that it's going to work for the Sabre Racing team here today, of course. So, what can the likes of Sam Carpenter do? What can the likes of Pierre-Andre Previdi find? But Philip Kraus holding a 3/4 of a second margin after the first laps. That's going to be key. Drivers who haven't yet set a time: Kirsten Beha, Alan Smith, Idan Kaufman, and Alberto Sartori, who is yet to step out onto circuit at this point in time. So this is going to be key. Kraus again coming through La Rascasse and over towards the Anthony Nogues corner once again. Fantastic cameras here at this circuit. It's all about swiftness that you need here at this place. You almost have to dart through the corners and almost merge your way through. And it's a 23.4 for Philip Kraus, who suddenly puts himself a full 7/10 quicker on that lap. But Barbakov finds 7/10 of his own. A 124.2, good enough for second by 7/10 of a second. Right now, it is a different world that the HM engineering cars have found themselves in at this point in time. Carpenter will be coming around La Rascasse now to start his first flying lap, but like Kirsten Beha goes 8th on a 26 flat and slams hard into the wall at Saint-Devote. So that will be a reset to the pits and start again. Raffaello Morga getting out of the way of, I believe that was Pierre-Andre Previdi in the Clash car, looking to try and push through the tunnel over towards the next section of road, which will be the Nouvelle chicane, coming up out into the sunlight once again. Ambient and track temp today, 29 degrees. It's hot. So these drivers are going to struggle with tyres, I believe, a little bit more than usual. There should be more graining going on here today, but through the rights and left of this fantastic section, the swimming pool here, and Previdi now looking to try and push a little bit further, find a bit more. 3/10 would move past Nathan Mifsud into third position out there on track, and through the final corner, it's gone horribly wrong for Previdi and just ran wide, and that was always going to be the issue. The lap will have to be abandoned out on circuit to Carpenter, though, who has a huge slide, a huge moment actually going through that section. Someone's had an even bigger one because there is bits of suspension there out on track along with tyre. That doesn't look very good at all, and it was Idan Kaufman who completely got the chicane wrong at Nouvelle and clipped the retainer, the attenuator there, which, of course, has been hit by many a driver, one including Sergio Perez once upon a time in a Sauber. So that would not be ideal for Idan Kaufman. Thank goodness it's sim racing, so he doesn't get hurt at all with anything going on. But those times coming in, Carpenter is 9th on a 27.3. He's 3.8 seconds off the pace at the moment. That was not a quick lap. And this may just have to be for Sam Carpenter, relying on retirement as Sheldon Scott Muscat takes a huge jump over the anti-cut curves down at the swimming pool and completely clatters the barrier on the outside. So that will be an abandoned lap here at the Principality for Muscat. But for the time being, Kraus, Barbakov, Mifsud, Pravidi and Smith, your top 5 at the moment. But of course, qualifying is no guarantee for a race win. It is giving you the best chance of a race win overall. So, right here, out on track, you've got Philip Kraus with 2 minutes to go. Let's go on board for a second here with Kraus. Let's hear some engine noise as they go up through Saint-Devant, or he goes up through Saint-Devant to try and get one more lap in the book. Really struggling to put the power down there through the left-hand corner up at turn 3 of Massenet. And now onto the brakes into turn number 5, first 2 Mirabeau corners before hitting the hairpin once again. Kraus nice over that curve and getting a nice kick of oversteer coming off of the exit there of the hairpin. Everyone's desperate to try and put the power down through that section, and then off you go. And there's the tyres being slightly warmed up by Philip Kraus. So obviously this lap will be abandoned then if that's the case, and then it will have to be a case of go one more. Barbakov has found a bit more pace to a 24 flat. Mifsud has improved to a 24.5 out on circuit. So there are improvements here late in the session. With a minute and a half to go, you've got to be on track, and there's a huge train right now behind Carpenter, and it does involve, of course, the likes here of Sheldon Scott Muscat and also Nathan Mifsud just behind it. So is draft going to play a big factor here at this moment? Is that slipstream going to work? You maybe gain half a tenth to a tenth up this section, but how much will that dirty air, not much here in these style of vehicles, but how much will that actually start to come in and factor into this rFactor 2 event? So now heading through this, a little bit of contact there for Sheldon Scott Muscat. It's got to be careful there at that point. Every driver right now will need to be on track. Luka Furlich will not improve from 4th place. Idan Kaufman will not improve from 11th place at the moment. But drivers like Philip Kraus are done. They will not find improvement, nor will Stoyan Barbakov find improvement out on this place. So it's down to Nathan Mifsud, the likes of Pravidi, Smith, Muscat, Abeja coming over the line. Will have one more attempt with 30 seconds left to go in this amateur category event. Slides slightly there through Anthony Nogue's corner, but makes that drive to the line, takes a wider approach, trying to open up as much as possible, but stays 8th on the 25.9 at the moment. You've got the likes of Carpenter coming in, but there's 15 seconds and now down to 10 seconds at the moment. And this is the trouble that some drivers are having. They're not getting the time that they want. And I think Alberto Sartori here has got one and only lap to try and get it over the line as timer expires. So Sartori will be done. Mifsud couldn't improve. Muscat couldn't improve. Sartori over the line doesn't, but Carpenter does. Moves to a 25.7 and is 2.2 seconds off of the pace in 8th place. So this is going to be a tall order for Carpenter. Keep something going. Morga is done. Pravidi up to 3rd on a 24.4. He has jumped Nathan Mifsud and goes inside 2nd row. So Abeja, maybe Smith, maybe Raffaello Morga, but Morga will not improve. So it's down to 2. Abeja will be the first, but gets it horribly wrong down at the Nouvelle chicane and gets over the anti-cut curb. Actually clips the Armco there on the outside. That lap surely will not count and will be invalidated for that contact. But here's Alan Smith then in 6th place. He's on the outside of the 3rd row at the moment, pushing through this fantastic section of road to the swimming pool, and now trying to make that run to Larascas here. Get on the brakes as late as you dare through that section. Nice and neat there going through that section and through the final corner, over the curb, gets a big kick of oversteer, trying to get the car settled, but Smith going to make that push to the line. Is there going to be improvement? Yes, but not position, so he did improve his time. Confirmation then, Kraus will be on pole position with Stoyan Barbakov second, Pierre-Andre Pravidi starts third with Nathan Mifsud fourth, Luka Furlich fifth and Alan Smith sixth. Then it's Sheldon Scott Muscat and Sam Carpenter seventh and eighth, Abeja and Morga, and then Kaufman and Alberto Sartori make the 12. We're going to pay a couple of bills though here with World Pro Racing. We'll be back with more after this. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Want to quit your day job? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
This is bad. Wait, let's just do it ourselves.
It is not fear that grips him, only restlessness, a heightened sense of things. The smell of engine and sweat, the engine rattling his blood, the crowd roaring. The race is about to start. He breathes deeply to focus. In this league, he finally found what he was looking for. A true passion.
Sono Massimo Paganini e per anni ho cercato una macchina che mi desse gioia, adrenalina nella guida e finalmente l'ho trovata nella G1 Series. Se anche tu vuoi provare una macchina che ti dia gioia e adrenalina, G1 Series 2020.
So, you think you got what it takes to race in the G1 Series? Can you keep your concentration? Even in the most stressed situations, can you keep pushing even when things go wrong? Can you master different environments? Can you adapt immediately to different conditions? Can you keep learning? Learning from your opponents, learning from your mistakes, learning from everyone, anytime, anywhere, until you reach your goal and become the best you can. Think you got what it takes to race in the 2020 G1 Series? Then fill in the form now.
Want real followers? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Griiip G1 Virtual Racing Series for 2020, presented by Fiverr. Hashtag making it work. And if it makes it work for you, let us know. Hashtag making it work. Find out what is sim racing working for you right now, and we will find that out the longer that things go on. But we find ourselves only a handful of minutes away from the start of racing action here at the Circuit du Jour. 2 races here today is going to be the key. Of course, the first one is for the Amateur Category Championship. The second race is all to play for in the Pro Division. And of course, we've got a fantastic mix of drivers who verse themselves in the sim racing sphere, drivers who verse themselves in the real world of racing sphere. And I don't like using the term real world, but it's very tough to say what is real world and what is a better way of saying it without really making sim racing sound like a bad thing. Sim racing's absolutely amazing, and you know, the one thing that I would say is that any real racer is a sim racer with money. But what you have is a sim racing scene that's going from strength to strength to strength over the past 5 years, and time and again it is great sim racing that wins out in all of these events that we see that have happened over the course of 2020 that have been so brilliant in spite of everything that has happened previously. And of course, the biggest sim race of them all, arguably, will be happening this weekend. If you haven't had any chance to catch it right now, it will be the Le Mans Virtual 24 Hours, which is going to be absolutely amazing to see in terms of what that can bring to the table. I'm pretty sure that with everything that's going on, with all the teams, with all the drivers, with all the teams working behind the scenes on that event, it'll be truly a spectacle to watch. So you're going to want to try and get yourself in on that event and watching with everything that you possibly can. But before you do that on the weekend, you've got to focus on this thing first. So here for your Friday night viewing, your Friday morning viewing, your Saturday morning viewing, if you're incredibly early in the morning right now, this is going to be all about who can hold their nerve. If anything about anything is known about this Circuit du Jour, it is clear. If you get it wrong, you don't get any second chances. If you get a second chance, you are lucky. You have been given an extra chance, extra life. And I think these drivers will want to hope that they only get that one opportunity here today to make that work, and they are going to have to try and make it count, as well as we've got live driver feeds for you at the moment. We can see with Alan Smith on board at the moment on the roll bar cam heading through turn number 1. Lots of wheel work there heading through to turn number 1, Sandavot. Of course, we are in warm-up at this point in time, so drivers will be getting a final feel for everything out on circuit, and that final feel will be fuel numbers. We'll be looking to try and make sure that they've calculated everything they possibly can, getting an understanding of how the tyres are going to react on full fuel, how the fuel margins are going to work. This track, which is traditionally low fuel usage, so they shouldn't really worry too much about that unless they underfill the car by a little bit too much. But we are looking at a championship showdown. If it gets wrong here for Philip Kraus, then this could be the widest door opened to Sam Carpenter. Sam, at this point, has proven he probably doesn't have enough pace here today to go and win this event outright on pure compared to Philip Kraus. That much we have seen so far. But what we do see at this moment is maybe a case where fragilities, if there are any, in what has been a Terminator-like performance, Philip Kraus, could start to show if things go wrong. Warm-up, though. That will be put in the books and tucked away for another day, because the race will be coming up very, very shortly. And by shortly, I mean within about the next minute or so, we will see the race come to fruition, and this will be a long 20 minutes for drivers around the Principality here at Circuit d'Azur. So, we will see who can put themselves up in the correct place, who can book themselves a ticket to what they will call victory, what they call the top step of the podium, who will put themselves at the top, and will a championship be decided right now? 30 seconds to grid up, reconfirmation of positions. Kraus is on pole position. It's an HM Engineering front row with Stoyan Barbakov alongside. There's Pravidi third in the Clash car, and Nathan Missard in the RPM Esports machine is fourth. Furlich starts fifth with Smith in sixth. And then got Sheldon Scott Muscat and Sam Carpenter 7th and 8th. Beja starts 9th, Rafael and Morga 10th, and it's Kaufman and Sartori for 11th and 12th position. We're going to have one pace lap around this place before we get ourselves going, and they have to be clean here on this pace lap. All 12 drivers do, because if they run themselves into trouble, if they smack into the back of someone, if they hit one of the Armco barriers trying to warm the tyres up, heating up the engine, heating up the brakes, then they are going to have to run with that damage for the majority of the race, if not all of the race here today. They've got to be so careful that they do not make any mistakes in arguably the easiest point in this sim race, which is, of course, the formation lap. So we will see who puts themselves in that best position coming through this race as they head through the fantastic section beyond Casino Square. And of course, that casino has seen so many brilliant poker events, actually, in the past. It's probably the third most famous casino in all of the world. The other two, you could say, Binion's Horseshoe, and of course, the Rio Grande as the other two, which you could say, compared to the Monte Carlo casino, would be effectively the most famous casinos that you can find in the world. Although we do not promote gambling here, and if you do decide to gamble, please do so responsibly. But at this moment, drivers will be looking to try and get themselves ready, warm up the tyres, warm up everything at this stage. They head themselves down the hill, and it's actually the job of Philip Kraus here on this formation lap to make sure that everybody stays as close as possible to him. The longer that he waits on that start line, the more that those tyres are going to start going cold. Maybe the engine temperature will heat up that little bit more. We have been known over this series to see smoke billowing out of the back of cars when they are ready and waiting to get themselves going, and they cannot afford to keep that engine on idle for far too long. The drivers now heading through the swimming pool section towards La Rascasse and moving on forward, and every gap now becomes so very crucial. The final nerves start to come in as Sam Carpenter just pulls himself off to the side, so something's gone wrong for Sam out on track, and that would be the last thing that he wants. So Sam Carpenter is back in pit lane, and that was coming through that section. We get a replay of exactly what happened here. You can see he just pulls off to the side as if something very badly goes wrong with the steering wheel or something like that here, as we watch on so many different levels. But drivers now trying to get themselves up onto the grid, and Carpenter is going to have to start this one from pit lane. I believe we have seen him sort out his issues, unless he's made a conscious choice try and start from the pits and avoid any dramas on lap 1. This could be key. The American Philip Kraus, though, wants to go 5 from 5 and book the championship from this point onwards. Here, drivers looking to get themselves ready. There's the green flag, and there's the go. Kraus does not get challenged by Barbakov then on the run towards turn number 1, Sandoval corner. And as they go through, all nice and neat, nice and narrow, some side by side as Rafael Morga and Idan Kaufman go side by side. Sartori there, and there goes Sam Carpenter in 12th place. Up the hill, side by side, Abeja going at it right now here with Sheldon Scott Muscat, 2 teammates, and Abeja takes the very wide line there through Massenet and just about holds it. But Kraus unchallenged at the front as he's got himself the jump that he's wanted so very, very desperately, and into the Grand Hotel for the first time. They all drive along. Kraus, Barbakov, Pravidi, Mifsud and Furlich here for the 20 minutes on offer for this amateur category division race that they've got going on circuit. It's been nice and clean off of the start, no dramas at all, as drivers have well respected their limits here around this street circuit as they head to a Nouvelle chicane for the first time on cold brakes. This one could very easily go wrong. Pravidi is looking like he's immediately under pressure right now, and it looks like there has been one driver who's gone straight on, and that is Alan Smith, who has had himself a moment then down at the Neuville chicane. He went on straight on at that section. That was not ideal. He now falls back to 7th position overall. That's dropped him 1 place as he completely messed up the braking zone. But for the time being, that does promote Abeja up into 6th. But it is Kraus and Barbakov at the front, 1 and 2. They don't have to do anything nasty between each other. They don't really have to fight at the moment. The HM Engineering boys can stay line astern like this, and there is going to be no way to get themselves going forward. We look backwards, though, at this moment in time as we see drivers going up and up again, as we see on camera here Stoyan Barbakov. He's got a lot of trophies there in the background, so he's got a very good history of winning races. In 2nd position, he wouldn't want that trophy to be silver. He'd want that trophy to be gold as he goes on through in towards this downhill section at the hairpin one more time out on track as we look backwards through the field at some brilliant battling going on. 7th, 8th and 9th, 6th, 7th and 8th, sorry. Abeja and Smith and Sheldon Scott Muscat all there, all close together, and you've got Sam Carpenter making progress through the field. He's already dispatched of 1, that being Raffaello Morga, and this could be the time he gets past Alberto Sartori here in the battle for 10th and 11th, side by side through the tunnel as they go on through. Just a car width being given there for Carpenter on the outside then on the brakes. Late as you go, contact between them there. Sartori was pinched on the inside and on the rejoin trying to get through. Contact with Raffaello Morga, but they all stay nice and calm, nice and together. Barbakov, though, here at the moment in 2nd, having a very good run of things and doing well with Kraus in the lead right now out on circuit. Furlich, though, starts to close in for 5th place, and we've got some big side-by-side as Alan Smith is slow off for the exit. Here's Sheldon Scott Muscat now, trying to go to the outside, trying to get the move done. You can see he's being pinched right over to the Armco on the left-hand side of circuit, but can't find a way through at Sandoval corner. So Abeja holds on, but Alan Smith was looking very close to actually picking up a big result there and gaining another place out on circuit. So Alan Smith stays behind Kirsten Abeja for the moment as they start to head onto their 3rd revolution of the circuit. Nathan Mifsud, though, in 4th place, is a driver under pressure because there is Luca Furlich behind him by 0.6 of a second right now, and heavy over the curbs there down at that section of circuit. That is 2nd of the Mirabeaus, and that could have so very easily have meant that Furlich could have gone around there with how low these vehicles are. They run very close to the ground, these Griiip G1s, but on the brakes he is okay, and he's staying just behind Nathan Mifsud for the time being. Kraus, though, has jumped out to a 1.6 second gap here at the front of the field with Stoyan Barbakov in 2nd position. Behind him is Pravidi, who is currently in 3rd, just managing his gap behind to Mifsud and Furlich. And remember that Pravidi and Furlich are tied on points at the moment in the championship, so every single place is going to become incredibly vital with the way that this has gone. And something's happened to Alberto Sartori out on circuit. Oh my goodness me, he's had an absolutely massive crash heading on the run to, I believe that is the Nouvelle Chicane, and I believe we've just managed to catch that one there. You can see him backwards going through, missing a tyre there as he rolls very innocently back towards the wall and out of the race. So Alberto Sartori then becomes a retirement after that big accident out on track. But there are battles to be had pretty much everywhere at this stage. Alan Smith has actually lost a place after contact, and big contact, down at Sander Vogt corner. So he's run into the side there of, I believe that was Sheldon Scott Muscat trying to find a way through. That was forceful. I wonder what the stewards would think about that, because that was a very interesting one that has just happened between those two. And that now means that Smith is behind Carpenter, which now promotes Sam Carpenter up into the 8th place, and they can see Alan Smith not looking best pleased there after that one. And there's Sam Carpenter in 8th place, trying to push a way through here in this one and try and gain as many places as he can. Next up on his list will be Sheldon Scott Muscat, who's already 3 seconds here down the road at this stage. But it is now starting to look like plain sailing again for Kraus. 1/4 of this race already put in the books. Kraus leading this one by 3 seconds over Stoyan Barbakov and Pierre-Andre Previdi there in 3rd position. Drivers now starting to find just those small gaps out on track, and that's going to be ideal for those drivers who want to just get their head down and concentrate at this moment in time. It is very, very easy for things to be nice and neat, nice and narrow. When you don't have that pressure immediately behind you within about a second, you can feel like you're free and you've got that opportunity to race. And this is what we're seeing right now through every driver in this field at the moment. No drivers currently within that 1 second, but a lot of drivers within 2 to 3, which means one small mistake. And by small mistake, we mean minute mistakes here at the Circuit d'Azur, racing at the Principality. Those gaps could come down incredibly quickly if things start to go awry around this place. But no such dramas at this point in time. Luka Furlic needing places, needing points at this moment. And in terms of the championship, as things stand, Luka Furlic would be 4th overall in the championship if things stay like this. Previdi will be 3rd as things go and would have a 10-point margin in 3rd, heading to the final round of the championship at the Nürburgring in 1 week's time for the amateur category division. What is key though here from a lot of these drivers is just how many points they're losing. Sam Carpenter knows he must finish ahead of Kraus, but already you can see 26 seconds the gap from first down to 20 seconds the gap from first down to 8th. Alan Smith in 9th place, but Sam Carpenter with a lot of work to do to get anything out of this. And in fact, Pierre-Andre Previdi all of a sudden becomes a driver who's under pressure. As Smith, yeah, I think's just had a moment and he's in the pit. So in comes Alan Smith to make a stop, and this is crucial here because that would indicate that there is some form of damage that Alan Smith is wrestling with, and he will try and get himself out and going as quick as possible. But this might be a long stop here for Alan Smith. He's waiting. I think he's going to have to wait even a bit longer here around this place. So not ideal for Alan Smith's race, but we were still seeing here 4th and 3rd, not too far away at the moment. Nathan Mifsud trying to stay in range of Pierre-Andre Previdi, and this is exactly what Luka Furlic wants. The gap is 1.2 seconds between them when they cross the first sector. Here at the second sector, that gap now opens to 1.5, and Sheldon Scott Muscat now all of a sudden drops back behind Sam Carpenter. He's had a mistake going into the Nouvelle Chicane, it seems, which has been catching out a lot of drivers so far. So what's happened to Sheldon Scott Muscat? He gets himself on the brakes, he catches the curb, and the back just loops. He just had no control of it trying to get it going. Has to find the reverse gear. Always very difficult in an open wheeler to find reverse. They traditionally do not find much of a reverse gear at all. And Sheldon Scott Muscat ultimately drops backwards now into 8th place, with Sam Carpenter promoted one more up now into 7th position overall now in this event. 4.5 seconds now the gap at the front of the field, and Alan Smith now finds himself 1 minute 12 off of the race lead and will be soon lapped at this rate. Here's the halfway stage. That will be indicated as complete at the end of this lap there or thereabouts. Here at this moment in time, this becomes a very crucial battleground that these drivers will be looking at, will be trying to get right. And now it's all about the consistency value. Drivers at street circuits, well, street circuits, they do have one thing for you. They absolutely prioritize consistency and precision. If you cannot be precise enough around this place, you hit the wall. If you're not consistent enough, then there is an elevated chance you hit an Armco barrier or a wall or anything of that ilk. So you've got to be so switched on through every single minute of the 20, and that's why here these 12 drivers are down to 11, because Sartori had himself a big moment out on track that we did catch just a little bit earlier on. Kraus puts one lap down then, Alan Smith, and that's going to be key then for this race. So Philip Kraus negotiates lap traffic without too many worries at all, does the American, and they can see how wide in the background Alan Smith actually went there through Massenet as they go over that small bump, which is quite large, and large enough that drivers do tend to drive out of the way of that, and they can see the intervals between drivers at the moment out on circuit on the left-hand side on the timing tower that we have at the moment, with 9 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this race. So this is key in terms of battles at the moment. They have dried up ever so slightly. You got Lux Vidan Kaufman on his own in 10th place. He's 7 seconds off of Raffaello Morga. Muscat there in 8th is all on his own as well. He's 6 seconds behind Sam Carpenter, but Carpenter's working hard here. Catch Kirsten Abeja. The gap down to 1.8 seconds overall at the moment, and it's that consistency that has been key to Sam Carpenter, trying to gain back as many places as possible, and he's done a good job so far to claw those places, but 6th place is not going to be enough. It's got to be first at this stage, and it's got to be a mistake for Philip Kraus, and that's not what we're seeing for Sam Carpenter. And his challenge, he's the final driver who could possibly challenge the all-conquering Philip Kraus, who some may argue, well, how on earth was he unable to become a pro? In terms of all these drivers and how they were put together, it was all about times. It was all about those pre-qualification times that were sorting out those drivers, and Kraus was adjudicated to be in that stage. But look at how now Sam Carpenter, that gap of 1.8 seconds in 2 sectors, is now nothing and is now tucked up underneath. And here's another pitfall of this place. Contact as they go up the hill, through here, up the rise, and Sam Carpenter just about, oh, the tyres almost interlocked as they went up towards Massenet, and around the outside, Sam Carpenter gets the move of the race, hands down with that one. That's a great move, but what I was saying is, it's all about gaps, and in fact, Sam Carpenter there just lags himself behind, so, oh, that was a shame. I thought he had that move done, but ultimately, something doesn't work out, and he's back behind once more, so that's not ideal. He's got to do that all over again, it seems, at this stage, so not quite part of the plan. Little bit of trouble for Stoyan Barbakov, though. Lap traffic playing a factor, and Pravidi starts to close down for 3rd place, but try again, why don't we here? Mr. Sam Carpenter looks to the inside, trying to get this one slowed down at the Nouvelle Chicane. Little bit of a tap between them, but Carpenter has the move done at last and gets up into 6th place. So Carpenter now into 6th. The traffic out of the way of Nathan Mifsud as well. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th currently split right now by 3 seconds out on the road, and it could so very easily go wrong with one small mistake. A 1-2 at the moment in the offing for HM Engineering, and that's exactly what they would want at this stage. A 1-2 could be absolutely massive for them in terms of gathering momentum and in terms of what they want overall. So we're looking at Stoyan Barbakov's perspective here once again on the camera. A little wiggle as he goes on through. It's so casual. He looks so calm, actually, the way that he's going and attacking. You can see nice and neat here as he hits the brakes into the Grand Hotel hairpin, and it's pretty much a case of, well, there are no worries at all here for Stoyan Barbakov, heading through the next right, and past a few marshal posts there on that right-hand side, and this has been a very, very comfortable run so far for Stoyan Barbakov. He's been unchallenged, but that's soon to change with 1.2 seconds only the margin here to Pierre-Andre Pravidi, who is sat menacingly and waiting behind, hoping there is a chance. There's Mifsud there in 4th. Furlich is off the back in 5th, and right now, it's all about those 1 positions here, those 1 positions there. Who can pick up 1 more place to gain 1 more position and maybe 5 more points overall? Through Laurascas, through Anthony Nogues as well. And Stoyan Barbakov having a very nice drive. Philip Kraus, though, his fastest lap of the day so far is a 1:24.134. You compare that to Stoyan Barbakov, he is doing 1:25s consistently here in this race. So that tells you all you need to know. Barbakov has got himself some consistency. He knows where his limit is, but Kraus, maybe a little bit more erratic in terms of the pace, is finding chunks, if not whole seconds. The gap now 8 seconds at the front of the field, but it is 1.3 between Barbakov and Pravidi. And Nathan Mifsud, mind you, is 2.5 seconds back of this as well. So if anything happens between those two, then this could be where Nathan Mifsud really does start to turn up the wick and find himself a way through. Battle 7th and 8th. Abeja and Sheldon Scott Muscat nose to tail through the casino square and into the first of the 2 Mirabeau corners. And it seems for the moment that Sheldon Scott Muscat here trying to wait next to the bus stop there on that right-hand side. It's very nice. You can catch a bus all the way from the Grand Hotel Hairpin and get yourself a nice run through these streets here in the Principality. But for the time being, Sheldon Scott Muscat trying everything to push on forward against Kirsten Abeja, the 2 teammates out there on track, but into the Nouvelle Chicane. Look at the different lines there. Sheldon Scott Muscat trying to get the run here, to try and get a move done, potentially at to back, which is a 1-line corner, and a big kick of tail from Kirsten Abeja would not have helped things. It's on as well for 3rd position right now. The gap half a second, second now. The gap half a second between Pravidi here and Stoyan Barbakov. So those drivers looking up the hill through Beau Rivage and towards Massenet turn 3. It's all now about what can Pravidi do in the clash car to find a move through. So this is going to be a crucial time to keep an eye out on these 2 battles going on. Muscat and Abeja started to just stretch out ever so slightly, so focus comes to Barbakov, who's so fluid here through this circuit. He's had no real concerns. Oh, into the wall slightly goes Pravidi, coming out there of turn number 7. Out on circuit. That is so easy to do at Mirabeau Basse, and it's so easily could have been a whole lot worse, but he's got a great run, though, as Pravidi on the run to the Nouvelle Chicane, but he's got no channel to dive down the inside here on the Mediterranean coast here at this point in time. So, waiting game continues. Not long to go in terms of this race, in terms of how long is left remaining for these drivers to try and pick up that extra position which they so desperately want. Kraus is absolutely all-conquering at this moment. He's 11.5 seconds down the road, and Barbakov is finding himself in a bit of trouble right now with Pierre-Andre Pravidi, but Pravidi is clearly pushing, and pushing to a level which he knows that he is hitting 101%, which of course is a little bit too much at the moment. He may just have to try and find that one opportunity out on circuit with not very long remaining here in this race. Pravidi through Massenet once again, trying to get as close as humanly possible through this section, and again up over that rise, over towards Mirabeau 1, so some would say, and going through this lovely section, down the hill, past the hairpin, and then there's the second Mirabeau that comes along straight after this, passing through right corner, and then Portier here, this fantastic right-hander, and again it is Pravidi who's trying to get something going here, and look at the run, using everything, very much kicked up, a lot of smoke as well, trying to go through the gears, goes to the outside trying to get this move done, and can't quite find it again. Barbakov keeping the car pretty much planted in the middle of the road, doing exactly what is needed at this stage. Out on track, not long to go, but there will be 2 laps remaining here in this race, as Philip Kraus should get himself one more lap after this one to cross the start-finish line. The battle for second on, and of course, look how close it is right now for 7th and 8th, because Abeja has been unlocked. Here comes Sheldon Scott Muscat at to back. Oh, contact into the wall there. Clips the tyres, clips the arm code as Abeja, and may have suspension damage from that. Struggling now through the swimming pool, and ultimately now it seems that Sheldon Scott Muscat senses blood, senses a chance, tries to the outside of Larascas, cannot find it. It's close still for 2nd and 3rd, of course, but Pravidi here is still there, and here comes the... Oh, no! Up and over! Sheldon Scott Muscat up and over, and Alan Smith is caught in that one as well. So a huge accident coming out of Anthony Noakes' corner. We'll catch it on replay here. So what happens here? Let's look at this one from Sheldon Scott Muscat's perspective here, trying to get the run through the final corner. So it was Smith who got it wrong, and then up and over on the roll hoop goes Sheldon Scott Muscat. He's lucky he's flipped that one back over and had enough momentum. So ultimately, that puts an end to that. But we've still got maybe a lap of racing left to go. Kraus up behind Kaufman here in terms of a bit of lap traffic. So this is going to be mighty close on the timer. But Kraus doing well. All runs into the back there of Kaufman, who locked up all fours through that section. Caught out Kraus by surprise. No real dramas through this section. And is this going to be a case of one more lap across the line? It looks like it will be. So we'll have one more attempt then for Stoyan Barbakov and Pierre-Andre Pravidi. But Pravidi is starting to struggle and fall back. And Barbakov just been managing the race absolutely fantastically here. Has been doing exactly what was needed so far. Worth keeping an eye out here on drivers who have had moments here, because Furlich was right on the back of Nathan Mistard, but had a huge slide through the swimming pool and ultimately has fallen behind because of that at the moment. But these final battles, we've seen changes. Sheldon Scott Muscat desperately trying to run it to the end. Abeja there in 7th place. The stewards, of course, will have had a look at anything. No penalties have been administered as of yet, but of course there can be penalties in the post-race. Barbakov still holding that gap to Pierre-Andre Pravidi, and there's nothing Pravidi can do at this stage except hope, beyond hope, that the final sector and a half is going to be filled with mistakes and maybe into the tyres and the Armco for Stoyan Barbakov, but it's not happening at this stage as he goes through these sections. But for Philip Kraus, he enters and exits the swimming pool for the final time. Larascas could even stop off for a bite to eat if he wanted through that section. And now at the Anthony Noakes corner, he goes through that final section. And what a dominating performance. The title is secured. 5 out of 5. And if you want to go and get the complete set, you have to go to Germany in a week's time. Barbakov will get second, and it will be Pravidi who will come home with a podium. Mifsud survives against Luka Furlich, 4th and 5th, and Sam Carpenter, who clearly did not have much pace today, kept it consistent enough though, and it will be 6th place overall for Sam Carpenter in the Sabre Racing outfit, and that's going to be crucial for him as he pretty much confirms 2nd place in the championship after that result. The final few drivers then will be making pushes over towards the line. The likes of Alan Smith and Idan Kaufman both have finished 1 lap down at this stage. The last driver across the line will be Raffaello Morga in 9th position overall, but Kirsten Abeja will get a controversial 7th ahead of Sheldon Scott Muscat. And well, unofficial results are like this. Philip Kraus picks up the win in 21 minutes and 19 seconds. He wins by 11.6 over Stoyan Barbakov, his teammate at HM Engineering 1-2. Pierre-Andre Pravidi gets 3rd with Nathan Mifsud in 4th. Luka Furlich gets 5th with Sam Carpenter in 6th. Following that is Kirsten Abeja and Sheldon Scott Muscat. Then Raffaello Morgan, the last of the finishers on the lead lap. He'll be coming across the line in not very long in terms of that right now. And then you got the drivers a lap down, Idan Kaufman, Alan Smith, and then Alberto Sartori, who had a massive accident on the run heading towards the Nouvelle Chicane. Well, that's a big race then, and an amateur category race which is scored in the book. But what we do have here are drivers here for interview. Philip Kraus joins me right now as champion with 5 out of 5. And Philip, well, you could not have asked for an easier race here today. You had your teammate behind you as your rear guard. Your main rival didn't manage to have the pace to challenge you overall. And 11 seconds again, it's another walk-away win from lights to flag.
Yeah, it was, I don't think the gap tells the full story because Monaco's always a really tough track. And I got into the wall a few times, but I was lucky enough to have the pace over Stoyan enough that it didn't affect me that much. And was able to sort of cruise the last 5-6 laps and make it 5 out of 5.
Well, cruise you certainly did, and well, it's all been key about the way that you've been racing this season. It's a championship which has been won on pure consistency of pace, which has been at the top every single time. So in terms of going through this season so far, what do you believe has been the key to you just picking up win after win after win?
Honestly, I don't know really, because when we qualified for this event, the qualifiers at Adria, I definitely wasn't the quickest. I think I was probably like the 6th or 7th quickest person in qualifying who ended up an amateur when we did the qualifying at Adria. But when we got to the race, I think I just had race pace over people. Like quali pace, it was pretty close for probably the first 4 races, but today I think I had quali and race pace. But in general, I think it was just I had really decent race pace and not many people could match it.
Well, decent race pace. We'll be looking at 1 week's time because the Grand Prix circuit of the Nürburgring awaits. 100% would be absolutely a perfect way to cap off the season. Do you believe that you are best placed at this point in time to make that a reality?
I'll give it a go. I can't say anything too early, like, oh yeah, I can make it 6 out of 6, but definitely give it a shot. It's a fun track and I really enjoy it, so we'll have to see how it goes.
Well, before we let you go, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank?
Big shout out to HM Engineering. Wouldn't be here without all their help and everything they do to help us drivers.
Well, there you can see Philip Kraus, a big race winner and a championship winner at that on the streets of the Principality. But what is very, very crucial is the driver who came home in 2nd position overall, that being Stoyan Barbakov, who joins me now. Stoyan, we saw a lot of gold trophies in the background as you were driving, but it's going to be a silver trophy for you today. So in terms of the way that the battles went, just how important was it for you to just pick up a smooth, consistent drive with all those drivers behind you trying to keep you in range?
First, thank you guys. Thank you to HM Engineering and Phil Klaus, who helped me to make a good setup. Congrats to him for the win the championship. Congrats to Previdge for the good pace. It was a good battle. I make a small mistake in the swimming pool, but now today I have a good pace. The cars feel good on the Azure, and still waiting for the next round.
Well, a very good result for you, and you're starting to build those blocks up now, getting result after result. How important was that 2nd place to you, especially given Zandvoort 1 week ago?
It was very good result. The last race was it was not good for me. I did big mistakes, but now I feel good and wait for the next round.
Well, hopefully the next round's going to be good for you. Stoyan Barbakov, 2nd place overall, and Pierre-Andre Previdi coming home in 3rd place. Pierre, that was a race where you could say was frustrating because the pitfalls of Monaco is once you get stuck behind someone, it's very tough to overtake.
Yeah, it's almost impossible. I only had one chance in all the race, and I didn't have enough straight speed again, but it's fine. It was my first race in Monte Carlo, my first championship, so I'm happy with the 3rd place. I had a very, very good setup, but it wasn't enough.
Well, it wasn't enough, but what you did have, though, was a very interesting battle because you were stuck in the middle of a 3-car scrap for the majority of that race. Of course, always keep you honest every stage, the way was Nathan Mifsud there as well. So in terms of having to look both in front to try and make a move and even sometimes looking behind as well to see where your rivals were, was it a case where you had no point in that 20 minutes where you could really, shut off and almost drive on autopilot?
Really, I did shut off all the race, but as soon as the guy in front of me did a mistake, I had a chance to try it, and I couldn't make it, but it's fine. So the guy behind me wasn't really fast enough, so I was pretty cool about it. So I wasn't scared, but I have to really thank my team, Clash Sim Racing, and Davide Gentili for another good setup. The team manager, Don Pella, and it was nice.
It was very nice to see you there, Pierre-Andre Previdi, 3rd place overall for that one. But do not go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, who are watching on a myriad of platforms all across the world, because we are going to be going over towards practice in just one moment. We're going to pay some bills incredibly quickly, though, when it comes to World Pro Racing. We'll be back with the event after this. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Want to quit your day job? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
This is bad. Wait, let's just do it ourselves.
It is not fear that grips him, only restlessness, a heightened sense of things. The smell of engine and sweat, the engine rattling his blood, the crowd roaring. The race is about to start. He breathes deeply to focus. In this league, he finally found what he was looking for. A true passion.
Sono Massimo Paganini e per anni ho cercato una macchina che mi desse gioia, adrenalina nella guida e finalmente l'ho trovata nella G1 Series. Se anche tu vuoi provare una macchina che ti dia gioia e adrenalina, G1 Series 2020.
So, you think you got what it takes to race in the G1 Series? Can you keep your concentration? Even in the most stressed situations, can you keep pushing even when things go wrong? Can you master different environments? Can you adapt immediately to different conditions? Can you keep learning? Learning from your opponents, learning from your mistakes, learning from everyone, anytime, anywhere, until you reach your goal and become the best you can. Think you got what it takes to race in the 2020 G1 Series? Then fill in the form now.
Want real followers? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your World Pro Racing event, which is currently your Griiip G1 Virtual 2020 Series right now, presented by Fiverr, #making it work. At the moment, we are heading ourselves in towards practice at this point in time for your Pro Division, which has been blown apart wide open after Zandvoort 1 week ago. A non-finish for Erhan Yayovsky, a world's fastest gamer finalist as part of McLaren's search for really quick sim racers. It has not worked out for him over that one, but he does take the championship lead alongside a certain teammate being Risto Capit, and it will be up to the Estonian to try and chase down the North Macedon here in terms of the way this event will pan out. This pro race is 30 minutes long. This is going to be a tall order for a lot of drivers, and 30 minutes around this place feels like 3 hours around a lot of other places. So I think everybody's going to be pretty much on their feet, on edge, on coffee, on whatever they can get their hands on. Just keep themselves awake, alert, and dialed in for this race. It's going to be a very tough race that these drivers are all going to be attempting to go through right now. And this track has held so many brilliant races in the past. Could this be part of the Circuit du Jour's sim racing legacy that it can leave behind? Because we could see something truly special happen here today in terms of this. The title absolutely categorically can only be decided today on one factor. That factor being Erhan Yayovsky wins and Risto Capit does not find a finish here today. And that, of course, will mean that the point effectively be 35-0. And with wins, it will be Erhan Yayovsky who would be picking up 2,500 euros. And that would be absolutely sensational for him in terms of a championship win. But that is a very long shot possibility. It is effectively whoever finishes higher out of those two takes the initiative. But do not count out the likes of Jurnej Simoncic. He's 15 points back with one race missed, of course, at Imola. And this is going to be a very tough challenge for drivers. Quite a few of these drivers who would have been practicing for a much more different street circuit of very different proportions. And that being Le Mans, of course, coming up at this weekend's worth of racing and that 24 hours. So this event that would be coming up for these drivers, it's going to be a huge challenge for those who are trying to get it right, to go and get the pace. We might see some people out of position here today. For example, you got Petr Briliak here in second position for Williams. As we look over at Paul August Lana right now, we are 2 minutes away from the start of qualifying at this moment, but every single place becomes a big talking point, a big contentious moment here. And of course, every driver will be looking to try and make a push up and down the order, gain that extra place, those extra points, and no better place than the street circuit here, the Principality Streets, to go and pick up a best possible result. Someone like Cosimo Papi, for example, who is, of course, part of the drivers who come from the real world into the virtual, will be trying to get as much of a result as possible here today through this place. But it's not a guarantee. Never has been, never will be. And it's all about staying consistent over the course of the racing to get this one to work in a way which every single driver wants that to be something that does work. So we'll see how that all plays out, of course, on all the platforms that we've got going on. We're on World Pro Racing's YouTube, Facebook Live, and on Twitch as well. If you haven't already, like, share, and subscribe if you're there already. We are also on the ESR 24/7 Esports Network. So hello to everyone watching there. We're on ESPN, and of course, we are also on motorsport.tv, and we welcome all of the new viewers who are coming in from that platform as well. But This is going to be a tough day at the office for so many reasons, for so many drivers. Worth noting, Davin Mrozek back after 2 races absent. So Mrozek here, Burst Esports colours, gets a whole heap of wall going out of the casino square. Could very much still be in that hunt for the top 7. And I didn't mention how close he was to Mishi Hoya in 7th position earlier on in the broadcast, but it is very clear that Davin Mrozek, through his first 2 rounds, could have very much had more points and could be right up there if he was able to attend. But either way, money is money and could still be fighting for that. Currently in 8th place, just 4 points back of Mishi Hoya. So that could be something just to keep in mind today, is that battle going on overall. So that one could be something worth keeping in mind the longer that things go on with this event. But we are heading ourselves over in just the next few moments to look at qualifying and the big challenges that come along from qualifying around this street circuit. And with a handful of drivers, or a lot of drivers, it's track position. It's very simply track position. Maybe the first lap becomes the best lap that anybody out there can put together. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's going to be something a little bit more different. Maybe it's going to be one of those laps where you find it right at the death and you get all the stars to align and all the drivers that aren't on the lap just magically get out of the way and the lap just flows together, is pieced together like fine art or fine dining or anything else of the sort. And of course, this is effectively the millionaire's playground here at the Circuit du Tour. So I think a lot of drivers here today will hope that they can taste the sweetest virtual champagne that they have available to them on this clockwise circuit. And arguably you could say here the Circuit du Tour has the most iconic track map image out of any track in the world. It just oozes cool by the way that it is, and there is a reason why this place is the circuit of dream for so many people. As we are looking at Risto Capit right now, the Estonian, big deep breath going in for him there. That looked like a sort of a okay, let's do this sort of outlap at this stage as Capit comes down the hill into the left-right chicane here of Nouvelle, and now under the tree looking towards the next left of Tabac. And this is going to be where Risto Capit needs to try and shine here today. He's been given a golden opportunity, couldn't fully capitalise at Zandvoort, only got 20 points out of it there, which was a 4th place finish overall. So needs to find some form again. Does he at this point? So Risto Capit knows that his teammate Erhan Yayovski will try and do everything in his power to get things going. Let's go on board for a lap with Risto Capit towards turn number 1. Lots of steering lock as he goes through and tries to attack. The next stage comes up the hill through the left and rights of Beau Rivage, and now heading towards turn 3 of Massenet. Commitment needed. The corner goes on for forever and a year, and suddenly, bam, you're into turn 4, Casino Square. Correction there as he goes through. Decides to go heavy over that drain there, heading on the run towards the first of 2 Mirabeaus, and now on the brakes into the hairpin now. The Grand Hotel, it's had many names over the past. Second Mirabeau comes along. Lots of curb there. Takes the pavement and then takes that big Portier corner to try and go out there and attack, and it does jut out there at that section. So we'll see how this one plays along. Next up will be down the hill at this lovely Nouvelle chicane, and almost tags the wall slightly there. Very much lucky there with that front left that wasn't contact going through that section and into the back. You can see how much these drivers are working here to try and get things going. Capit is fighting this Griiip G1 at every stage. Purple middle sector, which goes green all of a sudden, so someone is going quicker at this point. But through the final corner, now Vanti knows he comes along right now, tries to make the attack through towards the line, tries to take as narrow of a line as possible, and Capit will get a first time on the board. It's a 23-4, but look at Erhan Yayovski, 0.6 of a second. If that's not a message from one teammate to another, I do not quite know what is. And he just wipes a bit of sweat off his brow. He just opens his eyes and says, wow, what's happened? Simoncic goes second then. He's only a handful of tenths of a second behind at the moment. and this is key in terms of his race. Has he got everything that he wants and a little bit more? At the moment, Yayovsky, Simoncic, Capit, and then it's Ramos currently in 4th place, but the times are coming in at the moment. A lot of drivers haven't set times, like Briliak and Mrozek and Siebel and Hoyer. They haven't found the times at the moment just yet to go and get themselves moving on forward. This is Kirill Birakov, who goes 9th on a time that's 2.2 seconds off of what is needed, bumped down to 10th by Ericsson and Dornaden. Jordan goes to 5th place. So that's key as we look at Jesper Ericsson right now in the TX3 car, and now to Diego Ramos there as one of the pro drivers on the brakes into the left-hand corner of the hairpin, and you can see right now as drivers go quicker, Alex Siebel jumps up to 4th place. We get a nice picture-in-picture at the moment of how this goes on as he's pulled over to the right-hand side, allows the quicker HM engineering car to move on through without really too many worries at all. So that one working absolutely lovely jubbly at the moment for Diego Ramos. This is Dennis Jordan in 6th place trying to push. Alexander Dornaden is 7th, and Koshimo Papi now into 8th place overall, but it's all about time. It's all about perspective here. Going through the final corner and being harassed as he goes through, or trying to harass the back going through. You can see you can get as much toe as you like. Bump as he goes through. And oh, horrible bit of contact going through that section. That was a little cheeky from Dennis Jordan. I wonder if penalties come out in qualifying here in this series, because that was a little bit not on through that section of road. So we'll see what those drivers will have to do. You've got a few drivers a little bit further down the order, and Simoncic has actually gone fastest here. Someone's hit the wall in front. He's clattered that suspension arm there that's on the track, and he's fastest by just under a 10th. So ideal. Capit's found a little bit of improvement, but not masses here at this circuit. But ultimately, at this stage, this is the top 5 now all of a sudden. Simoncic, Yayovsky, Capit, Ericsson and Mrozek follow that up as Siebel has just gone 6th, 9/10 of a second clear as he parks it by the church at Saint-Devote, and Saint-Devote is actually a church, and it's the name of the patron saint there at the church, so Saint-Devote it is. But at the moment, it's all about those times, and they are starting to humble, ladies and gentlemen, at this stage. There's Yuri Kazdorp, who has struggled all season long with trying to pick up a result, and has just simply put been unable to at this stage of the season, making a way through with a bit of contact, and is desperate for some time as there goes Petr Briliak up to 2nd, 100th clear of Yayovsky. Where did that come from for the Williams Esports driver? And that was right on their wheelhouse. They got exactly what they wanted. Petr Briliak into 2nd place, and now there is more dramas to come up. Birakov goes 4th. Kirill Birakov, who has been mid-pack all season long, has found a worldie of a time to go 4/10 of a second off the pace and ahead of Capit here in 5th place, who is struggling with the Principalities streak. So maybe this is something that he doesn't quite like compared to some others. You've seen drivers make some good moves here, like Alexander Dornaden's all the way back in 11th, Jordan in 10th, but through the Nouvelle Chicane. Absolutely fantastic work at the moment here from Risto Capit to try and just get as much time as possible. That's a lovely apex there through to back and into these next stages of corners. Here's the swimming pool, and he is pretty much on it. He's running to the barriers at every stage. Is he carrying enough speed? That's the next question. Missed apex, though, heading through the right there at La Rascasse, so that's going to be a bit of time. That'll be going off, and a grid penalty comes in for Dennis Jordan after contact with Ricardinho Gracia out on circuit. So Capit goes to 4th, jumps above Birakov, goes 3/10 quicker, but a 2-place grid penalty for Dennis Jordan means that he will start a little bit further back here than he would have expected. So that's not ideal for Dennis Jordan. His day becomes a lot tougher around this place. But we've got 2 minutes to go here in qualifying. Jurnej Simoncic, Petr Briliak, Erhan Yayovsky, and the likes of Ramos now jumping up into 6th place overall. Now just 4/10 off of pole position, which is set by this man, Jurnej Simoncic, making the drive now through towards the hairpin. Oh, he's using all of the karting skill. He's actually drifted it into the entry of the corner, trying to get that car turned in as early as possible. Simoncic is using everything as the Croat try and gain some places. And Ottaviani goes to 11th place overall, and that bumps down Dornaden another place. Hoyer goes to 12th there on the left-hand timing tower, but Simoncic right now making a huge effort to try and gain places, gain positions, gain time. Time is what he wants. He wants a buffer, and in terms of buffer, he's had a big buffer there with the Armco at the back. And crucially, he won't have time to come in and out and do another lap, so he'll be stuck on that time alone here late in the day. So that's not ideal then for Jurne Simoncic here, as he will still try and make that push over to the line, pushing all the margins. Has he got a little bit more? 22.731 his time, and the time over the lines of 24.5 with all the contact. He has one more attempt to go and get it done. Here's Yuyovsky, the man who has been fantastic. Pole positions, race wins, you name it. He's got 2 wins in this season so far. Simoncic has 2 on track wins this season, but Risto Capit's got 1 of those. But here is Yuyovsky now really trying everything here through the swimming pool, over towards the next right, nice and tight as he goes through. A whole lot of steering action there as he goes through. A nice correction as well, trying to go through, and almost like he needs to get this one as tight as possible over to the line. Does he improve on time? He does! He goes to pole by a 1/10.5 of a second, and that was ideal. Briliak cannot improve on his time, but Erhan Yuyovsky in the clutch decides that he does not drive automatic, he drives manual, because he is just that clutch out there on track. So every driver now will be looking to try and find some improvements. Capit will not. He is down on pit road as timer expires here on qualifying, and there is the face of someone who knows he's got to overtake now on the Principality Straight. And that is, of course, the last thing that he would have been wanting here today in terms of this one. Yuyovsky could go once more if he wants to, but I believe he may just be safe unless Simoncic had a response to the times. We saw him go through. There's yellows in Sector 3, so something's happened. Someone's slowed through there. But at the moment, yep, that's Yuyovsky going no quicker. Diego Ramos will definitely go no quicker than moving through, as the final few drivers will get their times. This is Davin Mrozek, who's green up in the second sector. All sorts of wall heading out to Larascas, and there goes the lap for Mrozek. So Ottaviani there trying to make a time and trying to make an overtake with a time. Oh, that's a bit brave. Going through, trying to get it done, and there's almost more contact going through. I'm not sure who Ottaviani's next to, but Ottaviani's got a lot of work cut out here at this moment in time, and it's not quite what was needed here in terms of this one for him. So, most of the times put in the book, Ottaviani decides that's enough of that one. Then going forward, Jason Muscat looking for a final time at this stage, but provisionally at least, Erhan Yuyovsky on pole, Jurne Simoncic second, Petr Briliak third, Capit in fourth, and Kirill Birakov will round out the top 5 here, as this time, which is slow in Sector 1, slow in Sector 2, should be slow in Sector 3 as well, coming over the final section. So those will be the times that are on the board, and we are going to, at this stage, just pay a couple of bills here at World Pro Racing, and we'll be back with more here, The Race, after this. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Want to quit your day job? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
This is bad. Wait, let's just do it ourselves.
is not fear that grips him, only restlessness, a heightened sense of things. The smell of engine and sweat, the engine rattling his blood, the crowd roaring. The race is about to start. He breathes deeply to focus. In this league, he finally found what he was looking for. A true passion.
Sono Massimo Paganini e per anni ho cercato una macchina che mi desse gioia, adrenalina nella guida e finalmente l'ho trovata nella G1 Series. Se anche tu vuoi provare una macchina che ti dia gioia e adrenalina, G1 Series 2020.
So, you think you got what it takes to race in the G1 Series? Can you keep your concentration? Even in the most stressed situations, can you keep pushing even when things go wrong? Can you master different environments? Can you adapt immediately to different conditions? Can you keep learning? Learning from your opponents, learning from your mistakes, learning from everyone, anytime, anywhere, until you reach your goal and become the best you can. Think you got what it takes to race in the 2020 G1 Series? Then fill in the form now.
Want real followers? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your Griiip G1 Virtual Series 2020 presented by Fiverr. Hashtag making it work. We are just a handful of minutes away from the start of racing of this pro division where anything that can happen normally does. And we've seen a shake-up in terms of most positions, but there are no surprises for who is at the very top of the timing stands here at the moment. Erhan Yayovsky got it done in qualifying, got pole position by a 10th and a half. But what's key here to this warm-up is the final preparations. Even the likes of practicing a start. It's a very short run from here all the way along to Sandovot, the first corner. But these drivers know that even if it's a short run, if there's any chance for an overlap or a look down the inside of someone else, there is that chance. That will be what everybody will hoping for at this stage of this race. So they'll be hoping that their race goes smoothly. There's a lot more drivers. There's double the field, you could say, in terms of drivers here for this pro race compared to the AM race. And that's going to mean a whole heap of a lot. There's more traffic. There is more drama. There is more action. There is more everything that is going to be going on. But what is key is who is the most prepared for the Principalities streets, because what is going to be very, very crucial here around this circuit is going to be who is actually prepared. Of course, we talk about Le Mans. That's coming up this weekend. So with this being Friday, in terms of preparations, for a lot of drivers at the very, very pointy end of the field, preparation would have been elsewhere, helping out the team when they get themselves into their stint, being able to do a stint as and when they are able to. This is going to be something that will keep a lot of drivers very, very busy, especially Veloce with Alexander Dornadon. I know that FHG have themselves a GTE vehicle in the field, so that would have put preparations off for the likes of both Kasdorp and, of course, going on as well for the likes of Erhan Yayovski. Jerne Simoncic, I know, is part of a team as well, so he would have been called up to the dance as well. And so many great sim racers have been called up and given a big opportunity to go and race at what is probably the most famous sim racing event that will be going on very, very soon. But crucially, that's this weekend. That's tomorrow. That's the day after tomorrow. We're in the here and now right now, and that's what these drivers need to perfect. It's the here, it's the now, it's the finding of time, it is the ultimate pursuit of pace. It is one of the most amazing and glorious tracks ever have erased the Circuit d'Azur, and this is the place in terms of the season. When I looked at this 6-race calendar, back to back, this was the race which cemented for me as this is the one which every driver will want to win, hands and down. But with 50 seconds to go before we take ourselves over towards that starting grid, everybody needs to be very, very careful around this place. We saw the pitfalls of the Neuville chicane earlier on in this one. In fact, we even saw a corner so innocent as Anthony Nogues actually flip and roll a driver. So that could be something that does catch a few people out here and there, but it's all about wait and see who will have what it takes to call themselves the owner of a crown jewel race win, who will have themselves victory at the streets of the Principality, the Circuit d'Azur, who has what it takes. That is the question. So many drivers will be looking for an answer and hoping that something very, very similar to what happened at Zandvoort happens to someone who is on pole position to give them an increased chance, if qualifying was anything to go by, of putting themselves with a hand on the championship and get themselves 2,500 euros richer overall. So, who is going to be there with warm-up all complete, all the practices, everybody is pretty much geared up and ready to go as they will get themselves set up on the grid. There will be a formation lap, and of course the grid will be sorted as and follows. So, Erhan Yayovski will be classified as being on pole position then for this event, with Jerne Simoncic alongside. Then it's Petr Briliak in third place, with Risto Kapit there in fourth. Kirill Birakov will start from fifth, with Diego Ramos in sixth place, a best for Diego Ramos. Jesper Eriksson starts seventh with David Mrozek in eighth. Then it's Alex Siebel and Alessandro Ottaviani rounding out the top 10. Hoyer and Jordan are on row 6 with Alexander Dornadon there with Cosimo Papi. Then Jason Muscat and Alon Day, Paul August Lana and Mateusz Stumpf. And then you got likes of Kasdorp and Vela, Cacamagno there, and Ricardinho Gracia there making the 32 here, looking to try and make their, the 22, trying to make their push up around the Principality Street as they go for their one formation lap. And of course, the 30 minutes that they will have will be so very, very hard fought. We've seen how tyres have played a key role in terms of racing. This is one of the tracks which is deemed low tyre, low fuel usage. You very rarely hit top speed around this place. You very rarely attack the tyres because all of the difficult corners are slow speed places out on circuit. So, Erhan Yayovski in the R8G, the Roman Grosjean team car, will look to try and pick up a third race win of the season. Jerne Simoncic looking for his third victory overall, his second official race victory in this series. He lost his opening race victory at Adria after he ran into penalties come the end of the event. So Griiip, wanting a first race win of the season, he starts from third. You've got Capit there in fourth. Birikov is in unfamiliar territory in fifth. Diego Ramos there in sixth. And you know what? This could be absolutely anything. It could be absolutely anyone. It could be absolutely any way that someone can pick up a victory here at this place. Traditionally, it's those at the front stay at the front. But we have seen crazier things around this place. And everybody knows that they have to be absolutely on it at the moment. Davin Mrozek and Alex Siebel are going side by side in 8th and 9th place at the moment through the tunnel. And they are a long way back off of like Jesper Eriksson and co. And any attempts to slow down the field and keep everyone's tyres as cold as possible at the moment are not working here for Erhan Yayovsky at the front as he tries to pace the field through. He is crawling his way through to back corner, and this is going to be very, very awkward for everybody now trying to line up and get their grid space, because you've still got drivers right now right at the back of the field going through the Nerville chicane, and you've got Yayovsky making his way through turn 13 on track, which is a corner which is not very much called by its name, but in terms of its name, it is known by a very different name to what it traditionally has. So that's going to be key in terms of how you go and attack that section, heading towards the Raskas now. And in terms of that track name, as I was trying to find it, it's Louis Chiron. So going through Louis Chiron there he was. But the North of Macedon, you can see the helmet in flag colours there as he tries to go through the final corner of Anthony Nogues to get himself ready and situated here up onto the grid. A lot of drivers giving themselves a whole heap of space. Try and make sure that they will wait as long as possible, and they can't afford to sit and wait for too long on this grid. Even though it was a very slow pace lap from Erhan Yayovsky, it's one which has backfired because everybody has just sat back almost as if they are clutching around as much as possible to save every last drop of fuel, and I have a feeling that may just be the case. So you can see the slow crawl up to the grid stalls, and they will all look to situate themselves in their proper place as they look to try and make sure that their race all works out. Drivers are a little bit out of position. That's one thing about rFactor 2, is that you can, here on a standing start, find yourself positioned, and Ricardinho Gracia there at the back will be the last vehicle situated. Let's get ourselves ready then for racing. Engines are already starting to heat up. That's Mrozek's there starting to go, and now every driver waiting. 30 minutes on the clock, and it starts now. And Yayovsky got a good start. So did Eriksson there from the fourth row, also trying to make the push into turn one. Contact nose to nose. Cap it through. Mistake for Griiip. He's slow as he heads up Beau Rivage, and he will now bottleneck up the entire field trying to go through. Birikov's trying to find a way through. They're too wide. 4 deep almost as they go up in towards Macedon for the first time. Are there dramas? No, there are not here at the front, and we've got teammates side by side as well as they try and go through on the breakthrough. But Yayovsky, Simoncic, and then Capit there in third position. The start that Capit wanted. He's gained a place. Contact there down at the Grand Hotel because Birikov's got a tap going through from Mrozek, who's trying to go through. Then at the second part here of that section, and now into Portier and the run through the tunnel. Here comes Mishi Hoyer trying to pick one up and down the inside, and looks like we'll be able to here at this stage. Look at Ottaviani search to try and make a place, but you can't really do so. Straight on goes both of the vehicles going through. So Mrozek there slow, and also Hoyer now is going to try and pick this one up as well, trying to go down the inside. Is that an advantage gained by Mishi Hoyer? That's cheeky if he's made that move, and he has. So that's key. So Yayovsky, Simoncic, Capit, Ramos is up to fourth now, but under pressure from Jesper Eriksson, trying to go around the outside. Contact down at the Rascats, but cannot find a way through. A lap already score complete then here at the Principality, and everywhere you look, every position is on for the fight. Here comes Simoncic trying to go around the outside of one Erhan Yayovsky. Can't find it at Sandavot, but Yayovsky is under pressure then for the first time in a little while when it comes to this race. Oh, look at Massenet. Oh, that was brave, but decided to back out of it. Ramos as well, holding off Ericsson, and they're side by side behind us. Mrozic and Hoyer, they switch back places again, so Mrozic back through on Mishi Hoyer at this point in time as they head themselves down the hill once again to the hairpin, the Grand Hotel, once again as they head to Mirabeau 2 and now look towards Portier. So still Diego Ramos well placed in 4th at this point in time. It's all about consistency. Dennis Jordan's lost one, he's in 13th. Dornadon is down there in 12th. These are crucial points. Those are only 2 and 3 points respectively for Jordan and Dornadon at this stage, and they need as many as they can with rivals up in the order like Alex Siebel and Petr Briliak and the likes of course, Mishi Hoyer, Davin Mrozek, who will be fighting for that top 7, which is the end of the prize pool bubble here in this series. So, Yayovsky starting to find a bit of space to breathe at the moment. 4/10, not much. Simončić is a master of tyres. He knows how to save tyres better than anybody else. And again, he gets a fantastic run through Anthony Nogue's corner. And he might have a shot here of picking up this move then, maybe to the inside. Oh, he's looking every which way to try and find it. Small tap on the barriers as he goes through turn 1. But ultimately now, trying to have a run up the hill maybe, side by side as they go up Beau Rivage. This is going to be brave here from Juraj Simončić. Round the outside of Massenet to try and get this move done. Has he got it? No, he does not. And Yayovsky just about holds on. It's North Macedon versus Croat as they go through into the next section. There's the Estonian behind in 3rd, Diego Ramos the Spaniard, Jesper Eriksson the Swede, and then you got Petr Briliak as well in 6th. You've got 5 different nations in the top 5, all scrapping it out for position, and right now every place becomes a battleground. Here's some side by side in the background though, as that is Mateusz Stumpf, who loses out to Dean Vella for what is 17th place on the road. So Paul August Lana's there behind that as well. So that's a big scrap going on right down at the back of the pack at this stage. But it is madness off the start on how aggressive drivers are being, and actually how cleanly drivers are being aggressive around this place in the early stages. Yayovsky doing just enough to hold station at the moment, as his middle sectors have been what have kept him in control of this race at the moment. Ramos, though, under pressure here in 4th place. He's one of these real-world drivers. You can see with the Shell V-Power sponsorship there on the right-hand side, or on any side of his vehicle at the moment. But there's the TX3, the virtual driver's car of Jesper Eriksson. Most of those drivers from virtual drivers went to AAA. Those from AAA, they went to R8G, sorry, is the right word to say. So it's very much a chain right now, and still holding down stations. Jesper Eriksson there in 5th place, but not quite close enough to get there. Briliak on the recovery, he's in 6th, but you got Hoyer as well with Mrozek close behind, and there is Kirill Birakov in the HM Engineering car. You can see there as the Haris Mohammed team will try and make sure to go through, as there's a little bit of contact there. I do believe that was, maybe it was Ottaviani into the wall, but ultimately getting all right with things at the moment. But the front 2 are starting to gap Risto Capit, which is not what Capit wants here in this race. Remember, Capit is tied on points with Erhan Yayovsky at the moment, as 1/6 distance already scored in the books. The key here to Risto Capit must finish ahead of Yayovsky to take the lead of the championship heading to the Nürburgring, which is where it is all going to finish up. But a lot of locking of brakes in the background. That's Ottaviani running wide, and here we'll look Dornadon in the Veloce car trying to go to the outside here to back to get the move, and it might just have to be up and under, but up and under doesn't work like that, so that's not going to work. Ricardinho Gracia is out of the race. The first retirement it has been for a long while. I'm not sure we're going to be able to find anything for that, but Ricardinho Gracia, they can see in the pits and out of the race. So Juraj Simončić, fastest lap of the race as he's gone on through. Erhan Yayovsky with a mistake coming out of Sandavot is going to close that gap up the hill where that slipstream is going to become vital. That gap is about 2 car lengths between them at the moment. Ramos still holding off Eriksson, 4th and 5th place. And now look at Birakov over the back of Davin Mrozek here at the moment. He's in a real scrap, is Davin, for 8th and 9th at the moment. 3 Burst Esports cars inside the top 10 as things stand at the moment, but still Birakov trying every which way to get a way through, but that middle sector is really favouring here. Davin Mrozek able to just pull away a little bit of a gap, enough of a gap would be the right word, to just keep things going. We're looking at Kirill Birakov right now as we've got our things going on. We've got side image straight on. Yoyoski goes straight on down at the Nouvelle Chicane, and he might just give the race lead away. He does, and that's Jurnej Simončić. Cookies! That's his! Position 1 to Jurnej Simončić, and he is the toughest character to get by when he is in the race lead. Yoyoski will be inspired now to go and attack, and he is someone who does not like being in a position where he's behind. The concentration hasn't broken, though, by the looks of things. From Erhan Yoyoski's perspective, as he looks through, he wipes the sweat off his brow. He's in a hot box at the moment, and this is the pressure that he is facing, and that one mistake has really hurt him now as he has to go out and attack all over again here in this race. Capit senses weakness and could try and prey on that weakness then from Erhan Yoyoski out on track. Out of the race is Alon Day with suspension damage. How has this happened for Alon then as he was going through? He was in 17th place at the time, and this is late in the lap, so this is down at La Rascasse. So how has this one happened? He goes through, has a big slide, he's going to come down into the lane, and he just hits the attenuator there. So Alon Day out of the race then overall then, and that's not going to be ideal for how he wants to run his event, and he will score 0 points, nil points, as he goes on through and tries to improve in terms of this one. But Simončić, Yoyoski, Capit, Ramos, Eriksson, your top 5 at the moment. And Alex Siebel here in 7th in the Evolution Motorsports car is starting to be reeled in, and this is the key. He's being reeled in for that 7th place. So Davin Mrozek, who's through on Michi Hoyer, clearly has pace. That gap was 1 second at the last sector, and over the line it's down to 4/10, so that's 6/10 in the middle sector by Davin Mrozek trying to chase this down. On the brakes, right hand corner, and now try and open it up, but that wiggle coming out there of the La Rascasse corner is enough to make sure that Siebel survives for at least another half a lap, if not a little bit more than over the course of this one. Back to the front, and Yoyoski has closed over that last lap. It was a 25.4 from Jurnej Simončić. Yoyoski a 25.1. The difference there, 0.3 of a second. And Simončić now, I think, might decide to try and back up Yoyoski here into Risto Capit. And the big reason is the championship. It would be a lot easier right now for Jurnej Simončić if Yoyoski was 3rd rather than 2nd. If Yoyoski finishes 2nd, the gap is 10 points going into the final race, and that would mean that Simončić would still need 1 position between Yoyoski and himself at that final round. If it's 3rd, and then this is going to be a very key factor, it becomes winner takes all between Simončić and Yoyoski. There would be 5 points between them in the championship, but crucially, they would be tied on 2 wins apiece, and that would mean that whoever finished first would win the championship. So that's something to keep in mind, and Jurnej Simončić will not be in a very brilliant place if he loses this race lead overall to Erhan Yoyoski. As Eriksson's hit the wall then on the inside, coming in through the La Rascasse corner, and just like that, any progress that was being made on Diego Ramos suddenly becomes Petr Briliak, and we're going to catch a replay of this one going through. Here's the swimming pool, and this is where he gets it wrong. He turns in a little bit too early into this corner, tags the wall once, tags the outside wall, and I wonder how much suspension damage is going to be there as Kirill Birakov has gone the fastest of anyone, and that's Dornadon. Dornadon's in the wall. Kasdorp is out as well, so 2 drivers out of the race. Alexander Dornadon, 2 separate incidents. Kasdorp hits the wall down at the swimming pool. Dornadon straight on at Sander Vott. So 2 big incidents then, and 2 big drivers getting it all wrong. Dornadon clips the barrier on entry to the corner, and then finds himself in the tyres and in the foam there, very much the same way that one Mr. Max Verstappen did all the way back in 2015, a good 5 years ago, 6 years ago even, now at this point. So, Jurnej Simončić leads, Yoyoski 2nd, Capit 3rd. But the crucial fact of the matter is that battles are going on up and down. Eriksson will now be attacked by Petr Briliak. Siebel has officially been caught by Davin Mrozek, who's trying to get through as they make their way to the Nouvelle Chicane and try and pick up a place or 2 between them on the brakes. down the hill as I find myself a bit behind. They're side by side now as Hoyer finds a way through on Mrozek, and here comes Birikov now, all of a sudden to try and pick this up as well. So Birikov can't get it done at Anthony Noakes, too narrow there on the inside. What happened to Mrozek to lose all that time? Looks like the swimming pools caught him out then as he went on through, caught the entry over the anti-cut curve, and he's done so well not to spin it through that section. So he's done so well to keep himself going. Front three though there, but look at Capit now. Capit 1.2 seconds off of Jerne Simoncic, and they are happy just to sit, happy just to wait, but how long can you wait if you're Risto Capit? We've seen how many times in this race he has been there, as we keep an eye still on Birikov, trying to find a way through, still fighting out there with David Mrozek, but ultimately just not close enough to push that move, push that place, get that one position up into 9th place overall for HM Engineering after they've secured the Amateur Category Championship. They would be so pleased with a top 9 finish here in this event. Maybe even a top 8 would be a little bit of icing on the proverbial cake, so to speak. But please keep an eye out on the front three at this moment in time. Nose to nose to nose to tail at this stage, making their way through towards Laraskas corner. Simoncic, Jovs and Capit. Capit may have to do this one on strategy, may have to do this one on the road, and this is going to be a long wait for a whole heap of drivers trying to find overtakes. It's going to be tough as Ericsson pits. The damage was too much. Jesper Ericsson comes down in and will have to take a stop, and that's the engine there start to go through. I think that may even be maybe something else. So he's gone straight through the pit, so that looks like maybe more dramas. Has he missed his box as well, trying to get himself going, because he's out in the way and the engine is smoking a lot as he tries to get himself going? Has the engine started to run into troubles here for one Mr. Ericsson as he goes through turn 3? I think he's okay, but he missed his box. He went straight through without stopping at all. That's very weird then for Jesper Ericsson. He's hit the wall again behind Dennis Jordan and Alessandro Ottaviani, so that's not ideal at all going through that section of road. He's got to be careful there up at the first mirror bow. It could so easily go wrong at the click of the fingers, the blink of an eye, or anything that seems to be a snapshot at light speed, you may say. 17 runners running. The last of those runners, Kakamagno, will soon become one of the lap down crew, with Jerne Simoncic and co trying to chase down. Big props, though, has to go to the man in 4th place at the moment, Diego Ramos. He's 3.4 seconds off the leaders, and he is not losing any time to them at this point. He's broken away from Briliac by 3 seconds, and he is keeping this front three honest. If anything happens between the two RHG cars, the Roman Grosjean cars, and Jerne Simoncic in the Burst Esports machine, he could be very much in a position to capitalize on a podium here on the street circuit here at the Principality. Back though to 6th place, because Siebel has been caught by Michi Hoyer and Davin Mrozek and Kirill Birikov as well here in terms of this scrap. So they're all having a very nice run of things at the moment. But Alex Siebel is very much playing the role of Jarno Trulli at this stage, and this is the key at this one for Alex Siebel. He knows he's only got to make his car as wide as possible. They're at the halfway stage of this race at this point in time, so they've got 15 more minutes or so left of racing action. That's going to mean that that's 15 minutes of battling. That's about 13 laps or so to just hold drive behind. In fact, no, I will correct myself, that will be another 10 laps to hold each other behind, and those 10 laps, well, you just got to keep ticking them off one lap at a time if you're at the front of the train, and hope that drivers like Michi Hoyer do not find any way at all go out there and get a run. Now look to the leaders, because traffic is prevalent here with Kakamagno. How will you deal with this? And they all take the narrow line going through, but that bunches the train up, and you can see that accordion effect, that concertina come into play for Jerne Simoncic. It means now that Yoski is as close as he's ever been, within 0.2 of a second, and almost a tap on the wall there for Erhan Yoski, trying to make that run out of Anthony Noakes, which has been catching out a lot of drivers. Very deceptive off camber corner it is. It's always very tough. Magno pits, though, to get out of the way. But that's what she's doing. What these drivers at the front are doing is a different matter entirely. Liovski to get back to 0.6 of a second, and the waiting game resumes back at the front. Look at Kirill Birakov, though, who's got a fantastic run at the moment, trying to look every which way. Looks left, looks right, looks up, looks down. You can look slantways if you're in a Willy Wonka book, but you cannot find a way through if you're Kirill Birakov at this moment in time. So, huge tap on the wall, though, heading out of the Casino Square into Mirabeau. Mirabeau 1, I think is the right way to call it, and on the brakes again into the hairpin. Always contrasting lines at this hairpin. You can take the big wide line, take as much power as you can off the exit to try and cut someone up and under. You can always try for that big, neat line, that very, very shallow line that can go through. There's many ways to get that hairpin working in your favour. Fastest man on track at the moment, though, who is not stopping stopping here to collect 200 at go, is Petr Briliak here. He's pulled a second to the race leaders at this stage to get 5.5 seconds, and he's only 2 seconds here behind Diego Ramos. So Petr Briliak is proving he's got pace. Simoncic is in full tyre and fuel conservation mode, as there's a change of position down in the pack, because that is Jason Muscat being overtaken by Jesper Eriksson down at the back. So that's a great move they're going through, as Erhan Yoski is sweating bullets at this stage. This was not how his race was supposed to go. One small mistake capitalised to full effect by Jurnej Simoncic, the Croat, and there's a huge slide for Yoski going through there at Massenet. So that all of a sudden means that you can see how close now the gap is between himself and Risto Capit. It's 0.4 of a second, but Yoski is over pushing the car. Yes, he's in a sweatbox. Yes, he's struggling. He's trying to deal with all of that. We can see that on camera. But the big issue is Erhan Yoski is making those small mistakes that Erhan Yoski tends to do when it comes to these sorts of championships. That's why a lot of these races get a lot closer than they should be when he's out there on track and trying to make a move. And again, not close enough here in this front three scrap into the Nouvelle chicane here on their 13th revolution of the circuit. Back though to Alex Siebel we should go, because look how close Michi Hoyer is coming out of the corner. Is there a daring move at to back? Michi knows better than that. He's a very patient driver, is the German, trying to get through on Alex Siebel, but he cannot find a way through, especially not through that section. Into the right and left then, coming along with the swimming pool, and now to La Rascas. It's still not there at the moment. So those three staying nose to and tail. But look at now here, Risto Capit within 2/10. Oh my goodness. We are in for a treat here for these final 12 minutes worth of racing. Yoski knows what he's got. Risto is as calm as anybody. He's biding his time. The Estonian there just waiting for the right time. He doesn't have to do anything right now. Doesn't have to go and make a move. He knows how harassed his teammate is. He knows how Jurnej defends and is trying to save himself here in this race. It's all about patience with Risto, and this is how he's going to try and pick up those 2 places to get it done. And almost the teammates behind coming together. Hoyer and Mroshek there almost running into each other. So that's not ideal at all there. Nose to tail. No damage done by Mroshek. He's still got the front wing on his Griiip G1 car. And we've also got this battle 10th and 11th. Ottaviani and Jordan fighting for that one. So they're going to be in a really big scrap come at the end of the race. But it is all about these trains. It's Battle Pack Central here on the streets of the Principality. And now everybody is thinking about, okay, what can we do to get a little bit more, to get one more, to get one chance, one opportunity to pick up those positions. It's been a long wait for Yoski, who's been stuck behind, waiting, and oh my goodness me, oh my big goodness me, it looks like we've got ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 DNS, 7 DNS at the same time, and that's both of the R8G cars. That's David Mrožek, that's Dennis Jordan, that's Jason Muscat, and that's Dean Vella as well. That looks like a massive server issue that's just gone on here, ladies and gentlemen. And all of a sudden, Yoski is clear, Simoncic out, and a whole host of drivers have run into troubles. And there's no other way to describe that, but that happened at exactly the same time. A huge, huge moment with 10 minutes to go, and suddenly, the face of this championship now stands with 10 drivers out on track, and Yoski has come out unscathed through all of it. So I don't know what on earth is going to happen from the stewards, how they are going to rule this one, on whether this is going to be a race that counts or not to the championship, with an issue that has affected a good third, if not to a half of this field. But now Erhan Yayovsky here has been given a license and almost a free pass in this championship to a victory. Ramos is there in second, but there is Petr Briliak now just behind him in the scrap for second place. So this is huge right now. Petr Briliak fighting for that second place overall. So we'll see how this one goes up. So now, here's how the field looks. Erhan Yayovsky leads by at least 6 seconds now over Diego Ramos. Briliak is there in third. It's Siebel fourth, Hoyer fifth. It's Birikov in sixth. Then it's Ottaviani seventh. Ericsson is there in 8th. Cosimo Papi has lost that place to Ericsson and is now in 9th. And Paul August Lana is the last running car here in 10th place. I have never seen anything like this in all my 5 years of watching sim racing, and that much I can say without a shadow of a doubt. Ericsson back behind Cosimo Papi though on the run down the front stretch, and just like that, Jesper Ericsson's got to find the move again. It's still on for the podium here, and look at Petr Briliak right on the back now of one Diego Ramos, trying to go around the outside, trying to find a way through and down the inside. Is this one going to work? The answer is no, and it is a wait again as they go on through. So again, Petr Briliak is going to have to just sit and wait and hope that this is all going to work. So Alex Siebel right now in fourth, Hoyer fifth, Birikov in sixth. Now this actually does pose a huge question with this massive issue, this technical glitch that has happened in the matrix, so to speak. So how does this one get ruled? There's a number of ways this could be ruled here in terms of how you do it. As Diego Ramos is out! Ramos is out! Ramos is out from second position. Was there contact with Petr Briliak? I didn't quite catch an eye on it, but here's going to be how we see it. So Diego Ramos out of the race, and how has this one happened? Through the right, trying to go towards the final corner, and down onto the lane and out. And out goes Diego Ramos. That's so bizarre as he goes on through. So Ramos is out, and that may be for hitting a limit or something like that. So we'll see what that is moving forward. But now we're down to 9, and Briliak's been given second. Now, what I was going to say was there's a number of ways you can judge this race. Either the race stands as it is, and you say it is what it is in terms of the error's mistake, and I wouldn't like that personally as a way to finish off this race. He's third, fourth, and fifth. Still pretty close here out on circuit. You've got the option of saying, well, we go to the last green flag lap and effectively red flag the race from that point onwards and call the result very much like, say, 03 Interlagos. In that case, it would be Jone Simoncic who would pick up the win by that merit of value. Or we could just wipe this race completely clean off of the record, and then that would mean that it would still be a 15-point gap for Yayovsky, but crucially, he's got one less race to try and defend, and he knows that he would still be tied on points with one Mr. Risto Capit going through towards the final stages of this race. It's madness, but Michi Hoyer now hoping for a podium here. Alex Siebel under immense amounts of trouble right now and knows that it's going to be close here. As Jesper Ericsson's around coming out of the tunnel, and what has happened to Jesper Ericsson here? He has gone around out to the tunnel, so there's a battle between Siebel and Hoyer. They haven't changed position, so we'll keep an eye on that as that goes on, but Jesper Ericsson has gone around at the tunnel. Oh, he's just clipped the wall, and he's gone up and over, and Lana's done well to avoid that one, so not ideal at all. Jesper Ericsson then out with suspension damage as Siebel still holds off Michi Hoyer in the battle for third and fourth, and technically fifth as well if you want to count Kirill Birikov, but Birikov's now 1.4 seconds off of the back of Michi Hoyer and Alex Siebel at this moment in time. So 8 still driving here at the Principality. And this may just be a case of another one where only 3 drivers finish. You never know when it comes to sim racing, but Michi Hoyer on the brakes, trying to get this one down the inside. Not close enough just yet. Still going to have to wait for opportunities to knock at a different point in time. But this is all about setup. This is a tactical game of chess. that this Circuit d'Azur offers here on the street circuit that we've got right now. It's all about trying to open up for a small error, a small mistake, an opportunity. You are working the driver in front. You are playing mind games at every single corner, trying to hope that someone makes a mistake. You show your hand one way and then you go the other way. You have a swerve of some kind, I guess. But look at 9 seconds at the front of the field. Still not close enough is Michi Hoyer. This is the only big battle out on track right now. In terms of the 8, Yayovsky leads. Then it's Briliak in second, Siebel third, Hoyer's there in fourth, Birikov fifth, then it's Ottaviani, Cosimo Papi, and Paul August Lana in 8th place here in this one overall. So, we will see how this one all plays out, but it's still close. 3rd, 4th, 5th, and then, of course, you've got those others who are trying to find themselves positions. If the result stays as it is, though, a lot of drivers are going to be picking up some major points compared to everybody else in this field after a huge server outage for about half the field. So, we'll see how this one all plays out, and at the moment the race will end unofficially, as we are hearing right now. The race will end unofficially, and then we will get confirmation of result a little bit later on in the week, and it may just have to be come next Friday we tell you what the scenario is, ladies and gentlemen, because this has been a huge thing. Nobody could have foreseen this coming, and ultimately there's not much you can do. Huge slide though from Michi Hoyer, and those are times, those are precious tenths of a second that are going away with those slide through the swimming pool, and that's not quite ideal there in terms of picking up that one extra place out on circuit. So we'll see how this one all plays out as they make a run through on the brakes in towards the right turn 1 Sandavot and up Beau Rivage. It seems like Alex Siebel is still holding that place, half a second the gap though, but he's only got 4 minutes crucially to hold on, and it's even less than that at this moment in time. It's 2 minutes 25 seconds, and you can see how much Michi Hoyer knows he's got to step on it at this moment in time. He knows that for everything that he is doing, he has got to be pretty much on it. He's got 2 laps to try and find this move, which will be down to about a lap and a half or so, potentially come the end of this tunnel. And now you start thinking about, okay, I'm a little bit behind, but there is still chances here. There are still chances to pick up places. For example, Ottaviani's not a million miles away from Kirill Birikov. That gap is down to 1.7 seconds. That's still catchable in this race. But Siebel will still want to try and find a way through. Yayovsky will now look to try and make a push over to the line. We'll see what the time is. It looks like we're going for 2 more laps of racing, ladies and gentlemen. So there's an extra lap for Siebel and Hoyer to go out there and make that push at the moment. And this is going to be very interesting here out on track through the right-hand corner that comes along, and of Anthony Noakes, those in 3rd and 4th, and trying to push on for this result and for this podium is Michi Hoyer on the brakes into the right of turn number 1, and nothing quite doing at the moment. Still though, you've got Alex Siebel there, you've got Petr Briliak there, trying to make this one work as they go through the left-hander of Massenet, the right of Casino Square, passing Casino there on the right-hand side. Down they go now towards Mirabeau 1, and now in towards this fantastic Grand Hotel hairpin that comes along. And again, Michi Hoyer goes nice and narrow, trying to open up the exit as much as he possibly can. He is looking every which way to find it, and now the battle behind. Ottaviani suddenly is within 1.1 seconds of Kirill Birikov, who suddenly hasn't got the wick up and is trying to find a way through. So it's not working at the moment here. Kirill Birikov's dropping back. Hoyer and Siebel are close. Yayovsky has got himself 1 more lap to go here with about 20 seconds remaining on the clock. So it's going to be key. These results are unofficial. We must stress they are unofficial here, coming out of the Principality, heading to Germany and the Nürburgring with 1 lap to go. Alex Siebel here is looking for a podium right now. He's trying to fend off Michi Hoyer. There you can see Kirill Birikov and Alessandro Ottaviani following, but Ottaviani may just be a little bit too far back. It's the final lap of the race. 30 minutes are expired on the clock. They must go to the end of the lap if they have been trying to save. It's the 21st lap they completed. They're on to lap 22 of this event. And Alex Siebel here is doing everything he needs to at Monaco. Keep the car nice and wide here and hold off position, because Michi Hoyer has shown no sign of being close enough to have a lunge at any corner. You can be brave here at Monaco. You can go for the big bold, lock all four tyres and try and slow it down. But the big prime overtaking opportunity, well, there's only one of those left, as actually Cosimo Papi and Paul August Lana. Paul August Lana is off and is in the wall out of Anthony Noakes, so he will definitely finish as the last finisher in 8th place. Siebel and Hoyer coming down towards the Neuville chicane. Is it going to be a look around the outside here from Hoyer? Not just yet, but we'll keep an eye on that, as here comes Erhan Yayovsky out of the Rascash, unofficially will take the win here at the Circuit d'Azur, but there will be a whole heap of talking points coming out of this one and how to decipher this race, because I've never seen anything like this in my life. Briliac will unofficially get second, and Siebel, I think, will unofficially get 3rd place overall, with Michi Hoyer there in 4th position come the end. Birikov 5th. It'll be Ottaviani in 6th, and it'll be a long wait for Cosimo Papi and Paul August Lana, who will be both 7th and 8th place overall when they come over the line. But Erhan Yayovsky unofficially has the race win, and if this result does stand, then that is title secured. But it's crucial. The result has to stand. I think common sense has to come into play here and say that it doesn't, either the result doesn't stand or that the result will stand up to the last lap where issues like this did come about. So those are some of the parameters that are in play. There's not much you can do about it when that situation happens. It does happen in sim racing. It's worth pointing this out. This happens once in a very many blue moons. In fact, it's so much of a blue moon phenomenon that you could call it a green moon phenomenon, because that really rarely happens. But Erhan Yayovsky picking up the race win overall then here from this event as we get drivers in for interview. Erhan, first and foremost, we have to congratulate you on the race victory, but that is a weird set of circumstances to win.
Yeah, I'm not proud of that at all, to be honest. We all know how it happened, so yeah, I won't comment further.
Well, let's talk about the race then, just a little bit in terms of the early stages then, just to avoid what has happened in the latter half of the race. It looked like your pole position lap was absolutely sensational coming off of that time, and then you found yourself in a fantastic position to go out there and attack the early stages. But one small mistake opened the door up to Yerne, and then you spent pretty much the majority of the rest of that race looking behind.
Yeah, the start was good, but then I felt too much pressure from Yerne. I made a couple of mistakes. He went for the move. We touched. And then from like turn 6 or turn 7 was it, I had a pen steering 15 degrees, so I was driving the whole race like that. I made a mistake going into the chicane, and he passed me. It was really difficult to drive like that. Yeah.
Oh, you can completely understand with the steering wheel knocked up as much as it was. But now you've got the Nürburgring in a week's time. You've got likes of Le Mans that's coming up this weekend. So it's going to be a very busy week for you in terms of what you've got planned. So in terms of how you prioritize and focus, it looks like any way you look at it, you've got the lead of the championship here heading to the final round at the Nürburgring. But how much do you feel like now this is going to be probably one of the toughest weeks that you're going to find in sim racing?
Yeah, I just sleep, drive, eat, repeat, and it's these past weeks is incredibly busy. I will take a month off after this championship is over, definitely.
Well, a good break will be deserved. But before we let you go, Erhan, shout out sponsors or anyone you'd like to thank.
Without my team and to you guys for doing this amazing broadcast.
Well, no worries at all. Erhan Yayoski picked up the race win. Unofficially, we must say, Petr Briliak unofficially gets second position, and Peter is stood by me right now. So, Peter, qualifying went really well for you, second position, but what happened to you at Sandavot turn 1?
I think Risto and I touched, and I almost got turned around. And yeah, that was tough because I knew I needed to get into top 5, and I was 6th, and I was thinking, oh, am I going to pass these two in front of me or not? Because the big points are in those positions. But somehow I did get 1, and then I was attacking Ramos for P4, I think. And then something happened, I'm not sure, with the server, or I mean, P2 is great, but I'm not sure if it'll stick.
Well, we all know what happened in terms of the issues, so to speak, so we won't comment further on those. But in terms of fighting towards that mid to late part, Diego Ramos gave you a big fight, but ultimately his race ended up with absolutely nothing showing for it either. So ultimately you were able to canter home to second position. A good result come the end, even though with all of the issues that have picked up, that would still be a confidence boost the way that you were able to drag your way back through the field.
Yeah, exactly. I was a little bit unsure about the engine, because I didn't really test it, and you don't really have much cooling room here. So I was trying to cool the engine in the first laps, and then try to attack, and it kind of worked. But yeah, I think the race pace was, the pace in general was a little bit better than expected, like last time. So I think I can be pretty happy.
Well, you can definitely be really happy. And before we let you go, Peter, you got the Nürburgring coming up in a week's time. There's so much great sim racing coming along. So before we let you go, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank, and what are your chances you feel when you head to the Nürburgring in a week's time?
Well, we'll have to see the official results first, so I'm not sure. But I guess shot for the top 3 maybe, but likely I'll just end up in the top 4. And I'd like to thank BenQ and Fanatic for their support. Since they're with Williams, they've been helping me out with their products, and yeah.
Well, Petr Briliak unofficially picking up second position. Worth noting that all data coming out of this event will be going to Studio 397 for further development of the simulator to see exactly what this issue was and exactly how it will be fixed to make sure this doesn't happen for the foreseeable future. Alex Siebel, though, picks up an unofficial third place, but it had to be hard for Alex because you had mirrors full of Michi Hoyer for the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was quite stressful in the last lap. I think the laps before it was easy to hold him back, but then he got a pretty decent exit into the tunnel, and then it was close. Yeah, but it's, I don't know what it's worth it because, yeah, I think, I don't know, the race should either be counted as like before the mass disconnect or even not at all. I don't know, but yeah. I just was here today for damage limitation since I'm not at home. And I think, well, with quali it went fine, also with the race. I expected to stay at P7, then all the drama happened. I mean, at least I got lucky and not disconnected.
Well, sometimes luck plays a little bit of a part with these sorts of things, but you still had to work hard in terms of defending around this place here at the Circuit d'Azur, the streets of the Principality. I wouldn't say it's easy to defend here, but how switched on do you have to be when you're battling around this place?
Well, you only need to get the exits right, so it's quite easy, I would say. But because you, like, the corners before, it really doesn't matter what you do, because the car behind just has to brake if you mess up the corner. But yeah, you just focus on the exit, so it's quite easy, I would say.
Well, home race in 1 week's time, I would say. Nürburgring comes up. There's so much great sim racing that's going on over the course of this week. I'm sure for a lot of people here on the rFactor 2 service, they're going to be very busy regardless of what happens going on. But looking to try and keep yourself inside the top 7, of course, result pending. You came into this event pretty much holding the bastion of the bubble. How do you feel your chances are to secure a little bit of money staying inside the top 7 of the championship?
I think the gap behind to the guy behind was big. So, and I think it was David, and he was behind me in the race. So I think regarding this, it's fine. Not sure how the race will count, but I also had a big gap in front, so I think I'm pretty much safe where I am. But yeah, of course, next week I will be home again, better prepared, and try to get into top 5 again.
Well, before we let you go, Alex, anyone you'd like to thank? Shout out sponsors, you know, hamsters, goldfish, guinea pigs, anything?
Well, I think today I would thank TDS Racing to give us the opportunity to stay in their factory a little bit longer today to make this race happen. Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing opportunity, and also nice that I can be part of the race here.
Alex Siebel there, unofficially picking up 3rd place here today after a very, very interesting race for a whole number of reasons. But that brings the curtain closed on proceedings here in the Principality on a race result which nobody would have expected when everything started out. But of course, a massive thanks to everybody who has helped get this one done, from all the drivers, from all of the teams that have been putting themselves together, and of course a lot of people behind the scenes. Of course, a massive shout out has to go to ASR Formula, who have been helpful in the creation of this Griiip G1 virtually, as well as this series being presented or in collaboration with GT Omega Racing and Thrustmaster for the AM category prizes. Of course, this series is presented by Fiverr, who have a €5,000 prize pool here for this one. They are hashtag making it work, and so should you at this stage in time. And of course, to all of the partners, we've been streaming live on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch. So if you haven't already, make sure you like, you share, subscribe for more great sim racing that comes up. There's some great events coming up on Wednesday for the next month or so. And of course, you've got the finale to this in 1 week's time at the Nürburgring. So make sure you check yourself out, as well as a massive thanks to everyone who's been watching on the ESR 24/7 Esports Network on ESPN. And for those joining us for the first time on Motorsport TV, and in terms of everyone who's been working behind the scenes, George Muscat has been the chief race steward. We've had Adrian Fagallo, the chief race director. He's got a lot of work to do, he does, coming out of this event with what has gone on. And of course, Justin and Nathan Mifsud have been on the cameras at various points throughout this broadcast, trying to help this one together. I've been Jake Sperry, and the thing that I would say coming out of this is that this happens from time to time. It's okay for something like this to happen from time to time, because what people do is that they learn from the experience and they make a better product, and it makes sure that it gets itself up to the higher level that is needed. At a crucial time like this, it's important that something is found like this, and steps are taken in place to make sure that sim racing events in the future are improved because of it. Nobody likes to see it. Nobody likes to see a race go and end in a result like this. But what we can say is that there has still been brilliant racing throughout the entirety of the racing action that's gone on. And hopefully we should see clarification over the next week as we head to the season finale at the Nürburgring. You've been watching here the Griiip G1 Virtual Series 2020, and it's still coming up with one very exciting week remaining. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Want to quit your day job? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
This is bad. Wait, let's just do it ourselves.
is not fear that grips him, only restlessness, a heightened sense of things. The smell of engine and sweat, the engine rattling his blood, the crowd roaring. The race is about to start. He breathes deeply to focus. In this league, he finally found what he was looking for. A true passion.
Sono Massimo Paganini e per anni ho cercato una macchina che mi desse gioia, adrenalina nella guida e finalmente l'ho trovata nella G1 Series. Se anche tu vuoi provare una macchina che ti dia gioia e adrenalina, G1 Series 2020.
So, you think you got what it takes to race in the G1 Series? Can you keep your concentration? Even in the most stressed situations, can you keep pushing even when things go wrong? Can you master different environments? Can you adapt immediately to different conditions? Can you keep learning? Learning from your opponents, learning from your mistakes, learning from everyone, anytime, anywhere, until you reach your goal and become the best you can. Think you got what it takes to race in the 2020 G1 Series? Then fill in the form now.
Want real followers? Become a pro streamer. Want to become a pro streamer? Get your panels, overlays, banners, emotes, and more at the Fiverr Twitch store.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.